Hey man, how are you? I put
Good.
my Raiders jersey for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Wait a moment. Is it
Yes.
recording? Wait a moment. Yeah, it's recording. Okay. The first fact I want to know more about is how and when was Tyrant formed?
I formed it actually my last year of high school.
Uh huh.
I was about 18 years old,
Whoa.
and my original dreams were baseball and football. That's what I did growing up. We talked about that. I played American football. I had pads and helmet on when I was 8 years old. My dad was from Texas. He was our coach. Basically, go out and kill everybody. That's why I asked you to wear the Raiders jersey.
Yeah.
That was real football. People from Texas. And in fact, there's movies about Friday Night Lights out here, which are where the whole city's shut down in Texas, and I'll go to the football games. And they say the Friday Night Lights are what people would see if they were flying over Texas in an airplane. All they saw were the stadiums at the high schools. And so that's what me and my brother grew up with. It was just football, 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 and then baseball and baseball season and football, football. And we were good. We were all-star catchers. We made all-stars in baseball, team captains of football. We kind of thought that was our life. Um, and I was looking to try to play football in college, of course. But then my dream, it just changed. God just changed things around. I got very sick between my junior and senior year in high
Okay.
school. Between I was 17 and 18, I got I guess like a virus kind of a thing that they call mononucleosis. Mono. And they say it's the kissing disease.
Oh, like a
Yeah,
SOA, like
yeah.
sexual.
I had too many girlfriends,
Okay.
which was kind of funny. It
Really?
was a funny thing. My mom and dad would laugh. Oh yeah, everywhere he goes, he gets a phone number. This guy's unreal. He's got so many girlfriends. Well, I was in really good shape. Football shape and the long blonde hair and stuff, and I was just kind of like beast to honey. Um, but what happened was I guess I did have too many girlfriends, and I got this disease or whatever it was, like a virus
Uh huh.
between my junior and senior year, and it was like, dude, like there was literally broken glass in my throat. I couldn't talk, and yeah, mom gives me an aspirin. It didn't freaking work because I mean I was down. I was really down, and so I couldn't practice football, what they call Hell Week, during summers. You do two practices a day and blah blah blah. I was one of the first stringers and all this stuff coming back, and I missed that whole summer, no football. So what did I do? I picked up my bass. I had a bass that I had bought when I was 16 and took some lessons. So, well, I'm going to sit home and play my bass now because I can't do football practice. And, friends would come by and, hey, stay away from Greg's, talk to him through the window and blah, blah, blah. I actually missed a Kiss concert, which was unfortunate. I had tickets to a Kiss concert. My friends had come by to get me. And my mom said, no, you can't go. He's really bad. So I was pretty much like in solitude almost. No more girlfriends coming over, and I just had my bass. But man, dude, I was putting on all those early Black Sabbath records, early Judas Priest, early Scorpions, early UFO, Rainbow, that Rainbow Rising album. I played all the bass to that. I just really dove into my bass playing, and got fairly good. I figured if I could play along with early Iron Maiden and Sabbath and stuff, I was onto something. I mean, I took some lessons, but they weren't going to teach me how to play like that. My early teacher was this big guy that he was into Stanley Clark and jazz bass and stuff. And he'd be like, "Hey, your parents are paying me a lot of money to teach you how to play bass. I'm going to teach you how to play like Stanley Clark. You can teach yourself how to play like Kiss." And it was like a big joke. But took a few lessons. Anyways, that summer I taught myself how to play everything, develop my ear, all that.
Whoa, one summer.
The summer between 1977 and 78,
Because you were formed in 78.
because I was sick. I was born in 60.
No, but Tyrant was born in 70, formed in 78.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I went back to school, school got back in after summer. I
Mhm.
went to the football team. They said, "Hey, you can still be on the team, but you're not going to be a starter. You're not going to be first string. you missed the whole summer. It's not fair to the other guys. And they threw me a uniform. I took my uniform and I threw it back. And I said, well, fuck you. I said, I don't sit on the bench. I've been playing since I was 8 years old, and I never went off the field. I played first string offense, first string defense, special teams. It's just been in my blood. That's what I did. Never go off the field. So they said, no, you're gonna have to like miss the first 3 games and win your position back. And I was really skinny. I'd lost like a lot of weight. I was just like a toothpick. I was ripped, but I
Really?
was, I wasn't in a shape to be on a football field. Um, so that being said, I didn't have football that year, but I got together with some friends that played guitar and all that. And I said, well, it looks like there's going to be something new for me to do, a new uniform. It's going to be black leather and killer boots. And I went and got myself some killer outfits. Got together with some friends of mine actually from the football team, big guys like me. And this guitar player, a friend of mine, Gary, he got one of those brand new gold Ibanez Flying V's. And the thing was just beautiful. He's all into UFO, trying to be Michael Schenker and stuff. And I had this Beetle bass that was like a violin. It kind of looked like a piece of crap, but it was just something that the parents had rented for me to take my lessons on. He's like, let's go get you a bass. And I'm like, where? And believe me, my family, we have money. We're not poor people. But this guy's like, let's go get you a bass because he just got a brand new Flying V. That was just amazing. And so we went to this music store. This, this poor old man was in there. And it was just a poor old man that was in this music store. And there was a brand new Gene Simmons bass in the window because Kiss Alive, this is like 1975.
Oh yeah.
And Kiss Alive was the big album, of the time. And they had the Gene Simmons replica, Gibson Ripper in the window. And my buddy turns to me and says, go start your car. And I'm like, what? He said, dude, just go start your car. And this was a big guy. He was from the football team. And it was just a little old man that was there. Next thing you know, I go start my car and I hear, hey, like the old man yells at this guy and he comes running out with holding the bass.
You stole it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He stole it. So he jumps in my car. I punch it. Yeah, I'm spinning my wheels out of there.
Whoa.
And
Well, lucky it's overyeared, the
and,
story.
and, and then now we both had brand new guitars and basses. It's like that could. And then wow, I couldn't believe I had this bass. It was like $1,000. I hid it underneath my bed at night, and I'd
Mhm.
wake up in the middle of the night, and I'd turn on the light, and I'd go under my bed, and I'd pull the thing out. I still couldn't believe I had it. It's
Oh, edit.
yeah, a brand new bass, Gene Simmons, Gibson Ripper. I'm like, man, I'm really onto something now. Now I've got the killer outfits. I can play a little bit. Now I've got a brand new Gene Simmons, the
Whoa.
same bass Gene Simmons is playing. I'm like, so that's kind of where it started. And then
But
people
it's
were wondering,
overyeared. The story is
yeah,
overyeared.
yeah, I'm 18 years old, 1978.
The
And
story
then,
is overyeared with the money, with the stolen base. It's
yeah,
overyeared.
it's absolute truth. Absolute truth. And Gary's a big guy. He was probably about 6'3", about 225. And the old man just looked at him and he just told the old man, he said, don't even think about it. And he just took the bass and he just walked right out of there. He didn't even try to stop him.
Really? Wow. Cool.
and so me and Gary, we thought, well, I'm not going to get a knock on the door or anything. I guess I got away with it. It's
Cool.
crazy. My parents would have been pissed. They would have said, you buy that thing. You don't do that. But hey, it was actually Gary that did it. It wasn't me, but I went along with it. But anyways, it's a real rock and roll story though, that I got this bass that really put me on the plan. And then everybody in school knew that, oh, Greg May, you see here, you got the brand new Gene Simmons bass and all this stuff. It was just started blowing up.
Yeah.
And then who's going to jam with Greg May now? Oh, Gary got a brand new Flying V. And then other people would want to jam with us, and they would want to play Humble Pie, or they would play these dorky, to us, they were just dorky stuff. They wanted to play Humble Pie, or, some of these bands that, Fleetwood Mac or something. I mean, they're good musical bands, but me and this Gary guy too, we just the heavy stuff. I mean, we're actually just starting with covers. We were doing Virgin Killer was one of our first songs
From
that
Scotland.
that that we learned. and those notes in there, and he was playing it just like it, the Virgin Killer. Na, 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 na. Feel, wow, listen to these guys. You know, we were playing it at parties, and people didn't even know who the Scorpions were. Me and this guy, we were kind of down with the underground. Sails of Sharon, we started playing that. He couldn't really pull that lead like Yuli, but we could bang the crap out of that rhythm. And we started playing parties after the football games. So now here it is Friday nights. I'm not on the football team, but I'm playing at the parties after. And I'm like, hey, wait, you said fuck the football team, huh? Now you're going to play heavy metal. I said, hell yeah, you know.
Oh,
And I kind of kept myself still on the same radar as being up there. You know what I'm saying? And doing something. I went from being a football player, well-known football player, to now well-known heavy metal player. And it started in high school, and it would say tyrant. They say you guys are tyrants, you know, because you don't want to play this, you don't want to play that, you don't want to play this, you know. Yeah, we don't. We just want to play heavy stuff. We used to play War Pigs, Iron Man, Children of the Grave, all the cool stuff. We even knew who Judas Priest was, and a lot of people didn't know him.
you
Victim
didn't
of
know?
Changes, Victim of Changes. Yeah, because it was all Led Zeppelin and Kiss and Black Sabbath.
Okay.
When we were in high school, those were the three bands. And if you were into those bands, you would write that crap all over your school books. Like these guys would be walking around school with Led Zeppelin logos all over their school books.
Hmm.
Kiss was huge. Kiss logos all over their school books. And the underground guys like me and my homies, Black Sabbath. We were total Black Sabbath. And there were some guys that were like into Deep Purple and stuff. We played some Deep Purple too. Um, we loved Blackmore, but they just had so much keyboards. I don't know. They should have put the keyboards on the background a little more and put Blackmore up in the
That's
mix.
American, huh?
But that's how it started. But we were basically a cover band. So it was like 78. So we went way back, you know. Then once I got out of high school, those guys kind of fell off. Gary and the ones Phil and Bill and uh, Richard. Those were the guys that Richard was funny. He was a Mexican Paul Stanley. He looked just like Paul Stanley, only he was Hispanic. Greatest guy too, coolest guy. He was one of our real good friends. He had kind of like an afro, and
Huh?
on Halloween he'd dress up like Paul Stanley and looked just like him. I mean, it was awesome. But all those guys kind of disappeared, and I moved on.
Yeah.
I moved on to a Pasadena City College where Van Halen went for a while. It's like a legendary junior college.
Hmm.
Um, I was going to try to play football there for a while, and then I said, nah, you know, I said, I'm going to stick with this bass guitar thing. Plus, everybody there was 6'8" and 300 pounds. So I said, yeah, I guess I'm just not cut out for this now. And I met this other singer who was like best friends with Chris Holmes from Wasp. That was
Okay.
his, that was his best friend, this guy Doug.
Okay.
And so he used to bring Chris around. We would all jam together, doing covers. And he was down with us too. He knew about Scorpions. He knew about UFO and Judas Priest. And Chris was well versed with that. And then Chris was also best friends with Eddie Van Halen. So there was a lot of good equipment kind of around that Doug would borrow. Like he had like 5 Marshall stacks. Chris did, and that was like, wow. If you had two, you were doing good. But Chris in his garage had like five. I'm like, wow. Chris has a lot of equipment, and all those destroyers, Gibson destroyer. And then I was lucky enough to find Rocky. Someone said, Greg, you gotta find a new lead guitar player. I said, yeah, I know. They said, I know the perfect guy. It's this dude, Rocky. I'm like, Rocky, really? And he said, yeah, it's Rocky Rockwell. I said, you got to be kidding me. This has got to be a name that's made up, like a rock star name. They said, no. No, they said, that's Rocky Roxwell. I
That's his
said,
real name.
well, I said, Roxwell? He said, no, I think it is. And it turned out it was Rocky Rockwell. Really, he's named John, but he's kind of a big tough guy, and they call him Rocky, like Stallone.
Yeah.
And badass dude. I said, oh, perfect for Tyrant then. He'll get along perfect with me. And so they gave me his phone number. I went over to his house, and Rocky answered the door. Hey, what's up? And I came in there and I brought like a 12 pack of Heineken, and I'm 19, he's 20. No, I'm 20, he's 19. And, oh, cool, you got beer. Because you can't buy beer here until you're 21. But if you're
I
big enough,
know, I know.
yeah, if you're big enough, you can get away with it. I was buying
Back
like a,
then, back then.
yeah,
Now
because
you have
yeah,
to start.
yep, yeah, exactly. They look at you and they kind of size you up, and they're like, yeah, this guy look big enough to buy beer. Okay, let him buy beer. Even if he's not 21. So I go to Rocky's room, and Rocky has two Marshall stacks and a Stratocaster in his room, in his bedroom. He's still living with his mom. I was too. I'm like, wow, this guy's got the setup, in his room, two Marshall stacks. And he's got all this custom stuff he works on. He's got reel to reel tapes. And, he was just a musician's musician. He had a lot going on. He did all his own recordings and, hey, listen to this. I'm working on that. So I really got in with Rocky as, this now we're going to the next level with Rocky because he was not only a great guitarist, he had the stacks, he had the equipment, he had the look. He looked like Tony Iommi.
Oh,
He really did. If you look at the early stuff, I mean, you
the
think you
mustache,
think he's Tony Iommi. Only I think
the
Rocky's probably bigger.
mustache, the
Yeah,
mustache.
yeah, black, all black hair and stuff. So he had the look, he had the stacks, he had just everything. He was perfect. So we went and jammed with a drummer that I stole. Big Rob Roy. And I made Rob Roy, I jammed with him and his brother. And his brother was just a young kid. Rob was this big dude that had a killer drum set, big black drum set. And I told Rob after, I said, your brother's okay, but, I have this other guitar player that you should jam with us. And, but Rob had the studio, he had the killer drum set, big dude, looked like a tyrant. And he's like, yeah, we'll bring him tomorrow. I'll tell my brother to stay home. And I brought Rocky in there. And here we go. We're doing Victim of Changes, Beyond the Realms of Death, um, the Scorpion stuff. He's a woman, she's a man was a big one. That used to be our opener. Da 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 da. That. And then, rah, Rocky had all the Yuli riffs down. Rocky used to nail Yuli note for note. He still can, but we're doing originals now. But Sails of Sharon, we used to do that one. We loved the rhythm. That Rocky got really close on that lead too at 19, 20 years old. Sabbath, of course, we did a lot of Sabbath. We did some Sabbath with Dio too. That we did Falling Off the Edge of the World. That was a big song for us with Dio Sabbath. So we got with Rob, and Rob told his brother to stay home. He kicked his brother out of the band.
Hmm.
That's dedication. He's like, we got a new guy up here. And then now we had the nucleus. We had Doug, who was best friends with Chris Holmes. Chris Holmes, good friends with Eddie. That was my singer. Now I have Rocky, who's a monster on guitar, and then Big Rob on the drums. And then me, who had gotten pretty good over the summer, playing to all those records and learning all the bass riffs. And here we go.
That
That's
was
how we got. That's how we got started. That was like 79 into 80. So I was 19 or 20 when we really got things started with Doug singing. And that was all pre-Metal Blade, pre-Battle of Armageddon. That's really the baby steps, But we were taking some pretty good steps at that time.
yeah. Well, hell of a story, and
Yeah,
especially the story of the bass is killer. Uh,
yeah, true stuff.
yeah, yeah. Okay, but you already mentioned all these names, so this the second question I can ask, but it's a little bit overdone because you already told me all the influences. Which do you have to name as your main influences? You just tell me Scorpions, Black Sabbath. You have
Yeah, I have to say Black Sabbath is number one
okay,
um, because of the bass playing.
yeah,
I was also really, Judas Priest, of course. Ian Hill is good. The bass player for UFO, I really enjoyed, Pete Way.
mm,
One of the first songs I learned to play as a cover was Rock Bottom,
okay,
the song Rock Bottom. And that was a song where the lead, we'd play at a party. It's like one of the only songs we do. And the lead guitar player could just go for like, 2 hours playing a lead. And I could just hold down that rhythm. So I really got into UFO, um, and then Steve Harris came along. Got
All British, all
into
British.
Steve Harris, yeah,
European and German. Yeah, European metal, English and German metal. That was where you started with.
yeah, it really is because the American stuff just wasn't at that point
Mm.
wasn't really heavy enough for me.
No.
Grand Funk Railroad or the Doors, or there might have been someone else out there. I think Stephen Wolf or something, but it just didn't catch my ear like the European stuff. I come from European descent. My
Mm.
family's from Hanover, so I kind of feel like it was in my blood.
Yeah.
It was in my blood, and when I heard it, it rang true in my heart and in my blood. I'm talking real stuff. Where that's why, because I come from there. I come from Europe, so that the European metal bit me. Now, much later on, Van Halen. We'll talk about that.
All Dutch.
Yeah, right around this time, because of Chris Holmes, we heard about him. But it turned out that my neighbor, and who lived next to my girlfriend too at the time, um, was the bass player for Van Halen, Michael Anthony.
Whoa.
He's really named Michael Sibileski is his last name,
Yeah.
and we knew him as the Sibileski family. There was a few of them, and they lived in Arcadia, right down the street from me. And
Well,
my girlfriend knew friends with the. He had younger brothers. Michael did. Michael's like 5 years older than me, so he must be like 66 now. Michael. He's older than me, so I didn't really know that crowd. But he had a younger brother that was my age that went to the high school right next door, and he played guitar in a band called Medusa's Revenge. And they would play with Tyrant. We'd end up doing backyard parties just like Van Halen did, and Medusa's Revenge is there, and then Michael Anthony's there. So next thing you know, you have this whole Van Halen thing, and so we would always go to see Van Halen, and wow, were they incredible! They were really incredible. The best front man known to man. Michael Anthony, great bass player. He was really good. Alex Van Halen on the drums, he was unreal. And then Eddie, and
mhm.
and we're seeing this in backyards with a keg of beer. You know, anywhere there was a keg of beer, Van Halen would play,
Whoa.
and we would hear from Michael Anthony's younger brother and his friends, where they're playing tomorrow. Oh, okay. So I mean, we were at all of them. We'd help move their gear sometimes, and what that was a real influence on us seeing them make it. I mean, seeing these guys in the backyard, we always kind of thought Eddie would make it because that he was unreal. It was funny. Even the police would come and they would hold up this thing. It was like a decibel reader at the party, and it's you break the law if you hit these decibels
Yeah.
unpermitted in a backyard. And the cops would even go over to Eddie and point their fingers down, down. In other words, turn down. And Eddie would go to his amp and he'd turn down a little bit, and then they would read the decibel and they'd give him a thumbs up and they'd leave.
Really?
Most bands got shut down. You
Mhm.
just turn it. You have to turn on. But Van Halen, when they'd play, I mean, there were people like they'd have to block off streets. There'd be so many people. I mean, we saw that firsthand. That's like someone from England telling me that they saw Black Sabbath play at someone's house.
Yeah.
I've never heard that story, but
No.
I would be so envious of that person to grow up watching Tony Iommi and Geezer and these guys, Bill Ward, playing at someone's house every day. That's that's what we saw Van Halen do. We
Yeah.
saw these guys, Eddie and those guys, play at houses during the day and drink beer with them when we're like 18, 19 years old. It doesn't get any better than this, you know? And then next thing you know, we hear they're playing the Pasadena Civic, you know? They started moving up, getting out of the backyards. And who walks in at the Pasadena Civic? The 7-foot guy with his face covered. It was Gene Simmons. And Gene tried to steal Eddie from Van Halen. And we heard
Really?
Van, and then we heard Van because they were having trouble with Ace. And then we
Whoa.
heard from Michael Anthony's brothers that he was offered something like $5 million and told Gene to stuff it. He wasn't interested. We're like, whoa, this guy's, really? Yeah, oh yeah, he could have got in Kiss. So we were seeing all this stuff happen. We were hearing about it from insiders, how the band was making it. Next thing you know, they're on tour with Black Sabbath. I don't know if they came to where you were. Was Van Halen with Black Sabbath in '78 touring over there?
Maybe, but I wasn't born. I was born in '78.
Yeah. So you have to ask your mom and dad that.
Yeah, but my parents don't like heavy metal, so uh, I don't think they were here in '78. I have to ask some older people here, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's a cool story that you tell this
Yeah. It's a
information.
blessed life, man.
People would love it to hear
It's a
this.
blessed life.
Yeah,
I
I
was in the right place at the right time for all this stuff.
wow.
And it's made Tyrant who Tyrant is now. This is how we started. This is how we came up.
Yeah.
And it's just been a blessed heavy metal life to be in the right place at the right time.
I can, well, if I hear this story, I can agree. I was born in '78, and I was too
Kid.
late. I was too late, too young for going to concerts in the '80s. And when
Yeah.
the '90s came, everything was fucked up. There was no traditional
Gr-
metal anymore.
yeah.
So I was,
Nirvana. It
yeah,
was all
Nirvana.
Nirvana by the time you came around.
That's my generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the traditional metal, but it was not my time. If or '84, I was 7 years old, so no, I couldn't go.
Yeah. You were way behind it. But hey, good for you that you caught up, though. Because probably a lot of kids your age missed out and then just went another direction.
Yeah,
You
for me,
know, got
not. It
into
was
pop or
always my thing, and it will always be.
something. Thank God.
Yeah, but there are more people. There are even younger guys who are like traditional metal. Kids who are. I know even kids who are born around 2000 who love this traditional stuff. So they are. The music's still alive and kicking. There will be always a fans for that. Not many, but there will be always a market for that. Go on to keep it true. You see people from who were born in the '90s and 2000s who go to see Tyrant or
Yeah.
Cloven Hoof or you know they are young
Yeah.
people who love it.
Lizzie
But
Borden.
Lizzie Borden. They saw him in my town. It's great. He was a cool guy. Also, I met him in local bar here. He played in a little bar for 150 people. Lizzie Borden. Yeah,
Sure, why not? I mean, that's what we do. You
yeah.
know, we've been known to do the same thing, and it's like I tell my family here, they're like, Greg, really, you're still doing this heavy metal thing? Isn't heavy
Ah,
metal dead?
yeah,
Because there hasn't been a heavy metal concert that's really amounted to anything in Los Angeles, for years. When it moved from Hollywood, it moved up to Seattle, and it became Nirvana and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam. When all that came in, Hollywood just shut down. So you didn't have the heavy metal here anymore. They weren't even booking heavy metal.
no,
And, and it really died. It just died, you know? And so that's when, we got married and we had kids. And I bought Southern California real estate and we just kind of turned our lives into something different.
yeah,
But, but Tyrant, we always kept jamming. So this guy in '96, in the middle of like when metal is dead,
yeah.
actually sends me a fax and says, "Any way you could get Tyrant back together and do a new album?" I'm like, "Really? You want to hear metal? You're not a Nirvana fan, And they're like, "No, we're sick of this stuff. We want some real metal back." So the guy brought me over there to Germany, and we did. He put me on like a signing tour thing where I was going to all the music stores. And all these people were pouring in with our records, with the two first records, having me sign them, talk about when are we going to do a new one and everything. And I'm like, wow. And then I got up and I introduced Blind Guardian at a show, Heavy Oda Was, if I said it right. Heavy Oda Was, or
Oh,
whatever it
Heavy
was.
Oda was. Heavy
Yeah,
Oda.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, in '96, I got up there and at one of the concerts, they brought me over there and I introduced them to coming on stage, Blind Guardian. And I was
yeah,
backstage with Blind Guardian, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know who Tyrant is. Yeah, you guys played with Wasp. I think they liked Wasp a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know those guys are very good. Chris is a good friend, and I actually was jamming with Blackie a couple times." Um, oh yeah, so it was all like a big renaissance. So when I got back to town, I had like they wanted to release the first records the first and second record on CD because Metal Blade hadn't put them on CD yet. They were just records back in the day. The CD hadn't even been out yet. I mean, I'm old, man.
I have your records on CD and on LP.
Yeah.
So
Thanks
yeah,
so much. Thank you so much.
show you afterwards. I show you.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
but these
That's how it started. It was like it went away, it died, it comes back,
Germany
it died.
never. I'm
It
from
just
Holland.
stays.
I'm from Holland, but Germany, traditional metal always was alive in Germany. Always
Yeah.
traditional metal. It
Yeah.
is.
Scorpions, right?
No, but also this all U.S. bands, Swedish bands, English bands. Traditional metal was never that in Germany. In Germany, it was always people were always it was not that big like in the 80s or now. It's coming back now with
No.
YouTube and everything. YouTube metal archives, but Germany is always a big market for traditional metal. You
Yep.
know, Keep True, Small Brothers, Headbangers Open Air. It's really alive in Germany. Always was.
Yeah. Yeah. That one screwed up. I was talking to
Yeah,
Thomas about doing the open air, Headbangers open air.
Headbangers Open Air. Yeah.
And this is after Glenn was out of the band. We were already working on the new album with
Yeah.
Robert Lowe from Candlemass, and uh, and Thomas knew Robert Lowe really well from the Candlemass days.
Uh huh.
And he's like, "Yeah, get over here. We want you to headline. We want you to play."
Yeah.
And then at the time, Robert was trying to get his passport, and something happened where they held his passport. He couldn't get it, and we're like, me and Rocky and Ronnie, our drummer, like, "Dude, let's go. But
Hmm.
then it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working in time to get over there, and we actually had to pull out. And I felt bad because we'd never had to pull out of a gig since '79. You had to pull out of doing the open air, and then now COVID, everything happens. That part of it's been kind of a shame. The playing, the getting to tour, and all that. Because Hereafter has done so well, as you probably see. We're in all the top 10, top 20, top 5 records of the year last year. We're in all of them.
Oh.
It seems like Tyrant, Armored Saint, and Sirathungal.
Yeah. Which label released your new album?
Shadow Kingdom.
From America.
Yeah,
American label. Yeah. They
yeah.
work together with another more black, more dark, heavy. There are two labels: Shadow Kingdom Records, and they have another label, sub label. But they're working. They're English, American. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. They've done a great job.
Yeah, Shadow
But
Kingdom Records released many great stuff over the years.
yeah, we're
I
happy to
have
be
some
with them.
records here. Yeah.
We're happy to be with them. It's been great. And they're sending us all the time new charts,
Yeah.
top 10 records of 2020.
Wow.
And we're always, top 20. We're in the top 10. We've had some number ones too, which has been our pay. To come back after 24 years and these people are saying this is the number one true heavy metal album of the year, Tyrant. It's like the hairs stand on my arm because, coming back after 24 years, everybody probably thought these guys are dead.
Yeah.
If they
No, but
do,
at least
and if they do make
they're
it
still
back, what are they going to sound like?
uh,
You know?
still the same. Like because the record is not hard, not easy to get here. To be honest.
Oh yeah, yeah. The record company was saying that COVID really killed a lot of the sales
Hmm.
um, because all those cool little record stores got shut down,
It's true.
and it's unfortunate. But they said, luckily, we've had a lot of downloads,
Yeah.
and we've had a lot of online sales.
Okay.
That's made it profitable. You know,
Any German label will have it in stock?
well, Tyrant has it in stock.
Okay.
You could get everything from us.
Yeah, but I have a label too, a record label and a mail order. I maybe we can talk to. I like to. I need some. I like to have some copies for my mail order and myself. So
Yeah,
maybe we can talk about it later
yeah. Just
because I need
private
some.
message me. Private message me. I can get
Oh,
anything to anybody.
okay, because
Yeah.
the shipping is it's a problem also. The shipping killed us. When it's arrived, you pay sometimes 100 to 150 euros for taxes, for the
Yeah.
shipping. So we need
Yeah.
to talk about it later. But I like to have some copies because I don't
No.
see the CDs around or records around here in
Yeah.
Europe.
And Germany is one of the biggest places that we've moved a lot of product,
Mhm.
thanks to Rock Hard Magazine.
Yeah, yeah,
Rock Hard Magazine had us in the last four issues. We got great reviews there. The one guy, Glass, his last name.
yeah. He contacted me a few weeks ago to get my
Yeah,
stuff in rock art. He's a cool guy. He's very
very cool.
supportive to the scene. Yeah,
Yeah, and Rock Hard Magazine, aren't they like one of the biggest magazines in Germany?
yeah. Together with Def
Yeah.
Forever, they are the biggest. Yeah,
Yeah, so we've been in good places,
cool.
and we thank God for it, for sure.
Germany is a great. It's great that you have German origin because
Yeah,
Germany is like yeah, heavy metal. Heavy
yeah.
metal is Germany, and Germany is heavy metal. It's a
Well,
fact.
of course. Early on, those early Scorpions records were so big for me.
Yeah.
Taken by Force, In Trance, those two records, Tokyo tapes. Um, these were records that I would play every day, and I
Mm.
would get out my bass and I'd play along too. Fly to the Rainbow, of course. Actually, I had Lonesome Crow. Hey, and I met Michael Schenker out here in L.A., and to
Oh.
me that was a big deal. Um, it was funny. He's kind of a strange cat. You know how he would just go AWOL when UFO was on tour?
Hmm.
Oh, wait, you're too young again. I forgot. Uh, when UFO would be on tour around,
Yeah.
Schenker wouldn't show up.
Wouldn't he didn't show up?
Yeah, and so he rescheduled. Oh, I'm gonna have to charge my phone or it's gonna die.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I got a chance to meet him. He was just standing out in front of the venue, and I told him, "Hey, I didn't know you were gonna be standing around the front of the venue. I would have brought my red vinyl Lonesome Crow, and you could have knocked him over with a feather." He's like, "Wow, that's nice." It's like, I don't know if he was playing kind of a little club,
Yeah.
but I went up there and I told him, "Dude, you're one of my all time favorites. I love the songs on Lonesome Crow." That just like, wow, it blew him away. Oh, I'm trying to get to my charger now.
That's a little bit dark now.
Yeah, my phone is dying. I have to find my charger somewhere. But yeah, yeah,
But this now we see you back again a
yeah,
little bit. But this b- yeah, about this Scorpions around the mid '80s, early '80s already. They went a more American path as musically, more like glammy melodic stuff, And we
yeah,
talked about European metal was more raw and unpolished and with less keyboards. And the American hard rock at the time was, of course, Journey, REO Speedwagon, Boston. Uh, Later, the glam stuff came up in LA, especially, I think. Stuff like Poison, Motley Crue, and stuff. But the
the
American metal
junk.
was the American metal was always more polished, always. And Scorpions went that direction back in the mid '80s, together with a
Yeah,
lot of European bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. They all
yeah,
made records like Somewhere in Time, Iron Maiden, Turbo from Priest. Uh, Scorpions made some like big city nights, stuff like
yeah,
this, and that
exactly.
was they so they were influenced by the American rock, hard rock of the. But you, yeah, but you were never a fan of Journey, REO Speedwagon, stuff like that,
No,
no?
no, it just never really. I mean, Wheel in the Sky. I thought that was a cool song by
Yeah.
Journey. Wheel in the Sky, all that stuff. That was cool. I thought Boston had a couple of good, radio type songs.
Uh.
Um, but to me, when it came to like American metal, It was
Yeah.
really like Van Halen. I thought really Van Halen put them all on their heels. When Van Halen came in, you know, everybody was always in my circle was always talking about Yuli and Michael Schenker, Tony Iommi, Richie Blackmore, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, these guys. But man, once Eddie got on record, Eddie Van
Yeah.
Halen came out of Los Angeles and got on a record.
Yeah.
I remember going into record stores and hearing Eruption
Yeah.
from the first record. I mean, people's jaws were hitting the ground. They were like, "What is that, Eddie?" And they're like, "Yeah, they got him in a." Because we were hearing those riffs like in backyard parties
Yeah.
in Pasadena. Now they got him in a recording studio. He's got a record out. Now he's right there with those guys. He's right there with Michael Schenker. He's right there with Yuli. He's right there with Tony Iommi. And, geez, I mean, he blew up. He
Yeah.
blew up. So now we had an American band, finally, representing America. And they came back after just a couple of years, and
Uh-huh.
Judas Priest, Scorpions, and Ozzy all opened for them. And we're like looking at each other, going, "Holy crap!" And then Van Halen just got huge. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Everywhere
sold
in the world.
billions of records. They were selling billions of records. And yeah, when we saw Matthias at Us Festival, we said, "Oh, they kicked out Yuli because now they got the young, like, good-looking guy who could throw kicks on stage and stuff, like Eddie." And we were thinking, that's what they did. That's what Scorpions did. They kicked out the old man Yuli, who was an incredible guitar player,
Uh-huh.
but he just stand there. He couldn't move on stage. And he was kind of funny looking with that big dog mustache and all that. And they
Yeah.
bring in the good looking guy Matthias, and here come all the girls.
Yeah.
You know, he can do the high kicks like Eddie. And you're right, they kind of Americanized themselves,
Yeah.
and now they were in the game, and good for them because I'm a huge Scorpions fan. I think Klaus Meine is just he transcends metal. I think his voice and he could do any kind of music he wanted to do. I think, and luckily for the Scorpions, they had him. What an
With a
incredible
German
singer!
accent, huh? With a German
Incredible
accent.
singer
With a German accent in his voice.
with a German accent. Yeah, then didn't they have to learn American? They had to learn American to be able to
It
be
has his
sold.
shot. It has his
Yeah,
shot. It's a
yeah,
scorpion.
yeah. They had to learn how to speak American English so they could be sold in America.
Yeah.
Hit the big time. But that really blew me away when I heard Steam Rock Fever. I remember buying that record when I was like 15 years old, coming home, putting the
Uh-huh.
record on, and they go Steam Rock Fever in L.A. And I'm like, what? Steam Rock Fever in L.A.? I'm
Uh-huh.
looking around in my bedroom. No one had heard of these guys, but they're saying Steam Rock Fever in L.A. I mean, what the hell? And then
Uh-huh.
here they come to L.A.
Yeah.
A few years later, they opened up for Ted Nugent here.
It was already a dream for them to come to
Yeah,
LA probably.
to L.A. Yeah, Steam Rock Fever. Go back and listen to that song I've taken by
Okay, I
force.
will do. I will do. I will
It'll
do.
blow your mind.
I have seen the early John Roth a few years ago in Holland.
With Scorpions?
No, solo, but he played all the Scorpion stuff, all
Nice.
early Scorpion stuff. I've seen him at the Very Heavy Festival in the Netherlands. Maybe you have heard from that festival. It's a Netherlands heavy metal festival. The guy who organized it is Hugo Koch. Maybe you've heard from him, a Dutch guy. But he organized a festival here, a very heavy festival, and early John Roth was headlining the fest. A long,
Nice.
a long, in-depth set with all the early Scorpion songs. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a true legend. And
yeah.
he's probably in my top three, top four.
Mhm.
A true legend, and it's great to see him still alive and still playing.
You would
And
love to see him. You would love to see that. I was there. He
I
wasn't
saw
there.
him front row.
Yeah, but
I saw Yuli front row. He played a little dive bar here.
yeah, when
That years ago,
years.
probably 5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
We,
that was me too. Around 4 or 5 years ago, I saw him too.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
he played this little tiny place, and there, like you say, maybe 150 people there.
Uh-huh.
I just walked right up to the front of the stage,
Really, as a
and he's
young guy.
playing. Yeah, front row. I'm just watching him and going, this is unfair. And it's like I should have to be 20 rows back at a stadium to see this guy.
Actually,
You know,
yes.
I'm just walking right up in the front and drinking my beer and not having to worry about a mosh pit. In
No.
front of Yuli, it just didn't seem right. But hey, this is what heavy metal has turned. Guys like him should be playing in stadiums, but they're playing in little bars because this is where metal is now. You know.
You had not the idea to go on the street and put some youngsters out of nothing. Like, come on, guys, go see this guy. You missed something, you know. Go fucking see Jolly John Rod because this. If you are like 20 years old, you don't, you know who Tiesto is? Some crappy DJ from Holland. He comes to America and plays stadiums, and then
Yeah.
Uli John Rod comes with
Yeah.
his all talents and play
In
for
front of
a.
100 people
Yeah,
on
that's
a
not fair.
Tuesday night.
That's not fair.
On a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
I have
because
a 24-year-old son.
how old?
20. My son's 24.
24.
So, so years ago,
Yeah,
he's a big athlete. He of
yeah,
course football, but he was also baseball and basketball,
yeah.
all star athlete. Um, and his friends see, you know, we're not followers. People like me, my son, people like you probably, we don't follow a crowd. Someone
No,
comes to someone comes to me and says, "Hey, dude, you gotta come hear this stuff in a club." I say, "What? What are you telling me?" No, you need to come here right now and hear this stuff. I said, "No, I don't need to come. Bye." This kind of shit. Well, my son was the same way. But he would hear my heavy metal in the house,
yeah,
and dad's in a band, that kind of stuff, and okay, that's a cool thing. But when he's with other athletes, baseball, basketball, football, baseball, basketball, football, year round, they were all into rap,
rap.
full hardcore gangster rap. They would listen to
That's
that
white
before
guys.
their game. Eminem was one of them.
Yeah, but white guys were like, we call it wiggers, wigger.
Yeah, they did too.
Yeah,
They did too. I believe that word was used.
yeah,
Um, but no, they're right there with the black kids. I mean, they're brothers, and I was
yeah.
I was the same way. We don't see any difference in color
Oh, of
because
course not.
a lot of our football teams, we had black kids,
True.
Hispanics, never any Asians, but they don't play sports. They were
Black
good in
people,
the classroom.
black people are you often very good in sports. That's my experience.
They
I
were,
see it.
they were. So I mean, they were just kids on our team. I mean, we never
Yeah,
saw all this stuff. That's why people who play sports,
yeah.
I don't believe they can be racist because
Oh,
we grew up. They were our best friends. We won and lost together on football fields. I still talk to the kids now. People on Facebook now. I was on teams with back then, and that's how my son is now. His best friends are some black kids, and I don't know
yeah.
why it seems like it's some big deal. It's not, because those are just kids he grew up with. Those are just kids that were on the teams. Those are kids he was on the football fields with and won and lost with. They shed tears together. They
Yeah.
hugged after the games. They're brothers, and it's never been a big deal. I don't know why people have to make this big deal about different races,
No.
because people like me and other people like them just
Yeah.
grew up together and ended up just being brothers.
They're
It was
American.
something to even think about.
They're American. More the same like you. They are
It's
just.
sad. It's a mess. You
Yeah.
know.
But this is something about. It's the same with music. Heavy metal is worldwide. If you go to Brazil, if you go to Italy, if you go to Spain, if you go to Thailand, if you go to Singapore, heavy metal is worldwide. It's the same with sports. Racism in sports and music is not possible because it's for us all. It's for worldwide. It's
Yeah.
worldwide. That's
Yeah.
that's how I see it. I cannot imagine that some people like listen to heavy metal and say I hate foreign people, because heavy metal is something that connects people from all around the world.
Yeah.
Like that's yeah, it's the same with
And
sports.
Jimi Hendrix was like the godfather of all of it to me.
And he's from Seattle.
Yeah. But yeah, United States.
Yeah.
And he was before Tony Iommi and Richie Blackmore and all these guys. The guy from the United States.
Actually, the black people invented heavy metal, because the blues and Jimi
Yeah,
Hendrix, stuff like that, is the origin of heavy
yeah.
metal.
hmm
So
We
yeah,
played Hendrix too. There was another guitar player I played with in high school, Hispanic kid.
yeah,
His dad um, played guitar, not metal, but he
no,
played this flamenco. Oh my God! You talk about Eddie Van Halen. I think Eddie Van Halen has some flamenco guitar in him.
uh-huh,
Because this Hispanic friend, good friend of mine, Tony. I mean, oh God, unbelievable. You know, but he was all Hendrix. He loved Hendrix. He could play all those songs. We used to play those covers at parties, all along the Watchtower and all those songs and the Voodoo Child. I really think Hendrix invented metal because I think he was around before Sabbath, and then
yeah.
Sabbath came up with all the
Dor-
songs.
Dor-
You
Doors
know,
and Hendrix, they were the very early stuff.
yeah, yeah. I not that I know of. Um, like I'm saying, I'm only my age now, and I only had the records I had then. But
Uh-huh.
Hendrix came along, and then I think it was Deep Purple, Sabbath, Zeppelin, Cream, Cream too.
Yeah, and Blue
But yeah,
Oyster Cult.
what's that?
Blue Oyster Cult were very early too.
Yeah, they were around when
Yeah,
I've seen them many times. Cities on Flame. I love that song.
we have great bands in the Netherlands. I probably even might know only one band of them. That's the Golden Earring, who are one
Oh
of the
yeah,
old.
oh, that
They're from,
bass riff is iconic.
yeah.
I think Steve Harris ripped off that bass riff a long time ago for
He's a
Running Free.
big time fan of Golden Earring,
Running
but
Free.
yeah,
The
from
song
the song
Running Free.
yeah, the first on the first album from Iron Maiden, 1988, 1980,
Yeah,
1980. There's the I'm running free, yeah, doo-doo,
that's
I'm
the
running
riff.
free, yeah.
That's the riff from Radar Love.
Yeah, really. I have to listen to that Radar Love song later on
Listen
to
to
have
the
to
bass, yeah.
find,
Because
because
I had heard that
visually
on the
hit it.
radio numerous. Yeah, I'd heard it on the radio numerous times. I'm like, wow, that's the same bass riff to Iron Maiden, And
Hey, oh,
Wrathchild.
I go listen to it.
Yeah, go listen to Stormbringer by Deep Purple, and then
Yeah,
go listen to Wrathchild by Iron Maiden. They ripped that off too.
okay. Oh, I
It's
go
the,
check it out. Go check
but
it out.
everybody influences everybody, so
Yeah, but a Golden Earring, we're talking about classic rock bands,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
and then you say, yeah, I'm from Holland. Like Van Halen is origin from Eddie and Alex. They're also officially from Nijmegen, Netherlands. But the Golden Earring is a big time Dutch band. But everybody knows them worldwide. But they are still based in the Netherlands, never moved out of the Netherlands.
nice.
And yeah, but I think it's the biggest band we had in rock, heavy rock in Holland.
Yeah, that's
Golden
a big
Earring.
band. They're big. They're very big.
Yeah, I don't know how big they are in the US, but
Oh
in
no, that was
Europe,
a staple. That one song. There might have been other songs, but that one song, "Radar Love," has been a
big,
staple for years.
big hit, big
Yeah, oh
hits,
yeah.
hit. Yeah.
Yep. hmm
Okay,
Household.
you released only one demo. You released one demo in 1982, and four full albums between 1985 and 2020. Your recent
Yes.
album.
hmm
What was your first favorite album and why? And please also tell a little bit about your new album from 2020.
Sure, sure. The early records, of course, Legions and Too Late to Pray. We signed on Metal Blade. Young Guns in our 20s. Those will always be special to us. People who know Tyrant worldwide because of Metal Blade had great distribution.
Yeah,
Uh, Put us on the map. I mean, I was getting mail to my house, snail mail, we called it back then.
yeah, post.
Before email and all that was snail mail. And I have letters in my garage from Japan, from Russia, and Germany, and England, just from every part of the United States. I mean, that was so cool. And it was really a new thing to us to be able to reach so many people. And it was like, wow, my parents used to pull the mail out of the mailbox and, hey, you guys got a mail from Japan? Like, whoa, what are you doing? It's like, whoa, it must be hitting a chord with somebody.
Cool.
So yeah, so that those kind of things and those times were very special to us. But like I talk about, whenever Nirvana came in the '90s, in the United States they really killed it. There was no more Dokken, L.A. Guns, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. These guys were the staples on the Sunset Strip, where we could go every weekend and go see those guys. Take our girlfriends to go see Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, L.A. Guns, Dokken,
Uh, Fat
Great
Pussycat.
Great White. Yeah, Great White. All these bands were playing every weekend. It was just a huge party here. But hey, Nirvana came along, bang, our doors were closed. Everything moved to Seattle, and a whole different era of music started. Um, when we got the call in the '90s, '96 actually, to come back with a new record, that was really amazing because we kind of thought it was over then. And I'm like, and they said, well, hey, could you guys do a new record? And I told you, that story previously, that I came over there, went to record stores and met people and came back with money, found Bill Montoya, Rocky, of course, my brother, singer, found another drummer. That record, King of Kings,
Yeah.
was huge for us personally to be able to come back after the '80s heyday had shut down. So King of Kings, probably before Hereafter, was my favorite record because I believed we were better players then. We were in our 30s, mid 30s then, instead of our early 20s. And I think we were better players on King of Kings. Um, it came out in sort of a cool thing in Germany. They had a chocolate bar for a
Mhm.
number of months that was on the racks. Tyrant, the chocolate bar. There's Germans big into chocolate. We like it
Bel-
too.
Belgians and Dutch even more, I think.
Yeah, that's what they did. They were going to do a beer at first, and then they did a candy bar.
Yeah.
Um, so that King of Kings, of course, very special. That was probably my favorite of the three in the beginning. But now to come back after 24 years with the guys and bring Rob in from Candlemass and Solitude Eternia. He's a bro of ours now, another American from Texas. And me and Rocky still playing together. Ronnie, who's been with us on drums since 2010, the passing of Rob Roy, our original drummer. Um, I don't think there's much metal records out, and then with Bill Montoya producing,
Yeah.
I really don't know that there's much of a metal records out there um, that is as good as this. And I'm speaking from a very humble place, but I'm basically speaking on Rob's vocals, how he sings on this record, and
Yeah.
and Rocky's guitar playing. Rocky's just become monumental on guitar. He's really a guru. Working on guitars is his living, away from Tyrant. He
Okay.
builds guitars. So what does he do every day, all day long? He's got a six string in his hand or a 12 string in his hand. That's his life. And when he got in the studio, it was like, wow, listen to freaking Rocky, man. He's really amazing. And I think me and Ronnie hold down a very heavy rhythm section. Ronnie's not super fancy. He holds down a straight beat, and it kind of allows me to go off sort of geezer style, and then come back in, and it's pretty potent. Uh, I really love the new album, but before that, they all have a special place in my heart. It's really hard. It's sort of like having four kids.
Yeah.
Which kid's your favorite kid? It's
Can't
kind of
say
hard.
that. How many kids you have?
I have one.
Oh, only one. So he's always
Oh,
be the favorite.
yeah, exactly. And we spoil him to death,
Oh, okay.
and putting him through college, and he's had a great life growing up. All the sports and
Yeah.
oh
Girls
oh yeah, yeah. He's quite the
like
player. He's
like
a
you,
real yeah. Well, I settled down.
but like you back then.
Yeah, I settled
Yeah.
down. He's kind of a player. I think he's going to be playing the field for a long time
Okay.
until one really gets him to settle down.
Okay. Hey, but about this about your musical style, we call it in Europe. We call it U.S. metal. U.S. metal.
Yes.
And we talked about this thing about back in the early days of hard rock heavy metal in America, that it was all polished and with keyboards and with cheesy cheesy stuff like what we talked about at Journey, REO Speedwagon, Bost, and stuff like that. But in the 80s, when the 80s entered, the music had more balls, like bands like you, Rootless, Slayer, Metallica. That was the 80s entered, and your music in America became much more powerful, like the whole Bay Area, the LA stuff,
Yep.
all these. And that was, we call it always US metal, Bay Area trash, or whatever,
Yes.
but you were a part of that. And the typical, like back in the 80s, it was the trademark of hard rock in America was the cheesy stuff, the keyboards and everything. But in the 80s, it was the high pitched scream which made the typical American musical style, Typical
Yeah.
if we talk about American metal, it's like this kind of thing,
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and Tyrant was one of those bands who had
Yeah,
this,
for sure. For
Uh,
sure. That was a real Judas Priest influence on Glenn.
yeah, it was
He loved
okay.
Judas Priest, and that was probably his favorite singer, Rob Halford.
And he did it in the 70s, and you did it, and all the American bands did it in the 80s. All the
Yes.
American bands like Rootless and Agent Steel and all the high pitched scream, it was really
That's cool that you.
Attacker.
That's cool. You say ruthless. Sammy is one of my best Facebook buddies,
Yeah, I
and he's
released
really
this.
stayed busy. He's a good dude.
I released this new album. Wait, you have one moment?
Yes.
I released this new single.
Oh, okay.
Like here, see, uh,
Is that ruthless or final decrees?
the three Sammy. You see, Sammy the
Yeah,
name,
yeah, yeah.
and this is my label,
Oh, okay.
Records. So I
I
released a single of
didn't
Sammy. Yeah,
even know.
yeah, here.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Hi,
this is final
hi,
decrees. Huh?
hi, Sammy. Hi, Glenn. Hi.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, he's my buddy.
Yeah,
I,
he's
I,
from
I
LA.
guess I wonder if this is a side project from Ruthless, or will Ruthless be the side project, or he just has a lot of time to do two. Reminds me
One
of
single.
Robert Lowe.
One
They,
moment.
they have a lot of time. It's hard for me to put one record out. Oh, CDs, man, you got a lot.
Here, Rootless, the new album,
Oh, nice.
released on a German label, as also
Of course.
Pure
Oh,
Steel
yeah.
Records.
That's the new one.
Yeah, and I also have the classic, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that one. It's a Metal Without Mercies,
Yeah,
right?
and of course I also have I have also King of Kings on LP and CD, but I just took this ones because these are the two classics, of course.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's good. Well, for a young guy, you got the heavy duty stuff there.
Of course, it's my music. So anyway, yeah, the musical style of US metal with the high
Right.
pitched scream and everything, that was American. That was American metal for me. Also the glam stuff, of course. But actually, the coolest thing about US metal is that you look like a bunch of glam, but not really glam. Not the makeup, but the puffed up hair and it was like real American style, over like
Well,
dressed.
yeah. Well, that was a photo session.
Okay.
So they had the record company. Yeah, Metal Blade had these girls come in
Yeah.
and do our hair for us.
Okay.
and he sent that professional photographer who did all those bands too.
Which?
Atkins, I think it was Atkins. Yeah, he did Motley Crue and all these bands. So they had to kind of pretty us up.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, we didn't poof our hair up or anything like a hairband.
Okay.
But that was a photo session, so they did just to make us look good for the record. But no, we had pretty cool hair. I know I did. I used to, I had like they used to. My hair looked like Bon Jovi actually, or something.
Oh, okay.
It would
That
get
that's
really
why
long, and then yeah,
that's
it would get really
oh,
long, and then perm. I would do a perm when it was
okay.
really long. So we definitely had cool hair, but we didn't really like poser it up like Motley Crue and stuff.
No, but it was what I say. It was you had the dressing with the leather and spikes, and then the puffed up hair, and then the musical style was like it was a mixture of heavy metal and thrash, but more melodic, a little bit more like the musicals a bit more melodic. And this it was more melodic like Slayer or something on Metallica. You had more that was a little bit more melodic, but the voices were high and high pitched and clean, and yeah, that's US metal, and that's my favorite style of metal, to be honest.
Thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it that you enjoyed it and that you're able to break things down and
Hmm.
analyze and review with a sense of knowledge. To me, that's so cool. You
Yeah,
know,
because it was
you know,
the you said you were starting in the 70s as a, and there was only Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and all Europe, Scorpions, all the
mhm.
American stuff was cheesy and
You're
but
right.
then but then in the mid 80s all the European bands sounded more like American bands, and the American bands go more to Judas Priest style,
They really started getting ballsy, like Montrose.
like
I
crossing,
found Ronnie Montrose.
Money
That
Montrose. Yeah, I have a
that's where
record from
Sammy Hagar came from, and I didn't even know who he was until I saw him open for Kiss,
yeah.
and they just came out and blew the doors off the place. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go get their record tomorrow, you know. And then the American stuff started being good, and some of the early Kiss stuff I liked because I was young.
Yeah.
Early Kiss I liked, and then Montrose, and there were some American bands that were coming up that were doing better, but nothing close to Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath was just Hand of Doom, man. I mean, there was nobody like them.
Pentagram, you know Pentagram?
Yeah, I ended up hearing about them later,
Mhm.
and yeah, but I mean, we can throw a lot of names out there, but no one's going to be like Tony Iommi, Geezer, Ozzy, Bill Ward. Those guys are the number one.
Yeah, but that's what about this whole musical path. The European bands after they came to LA in the club circuit and playing in America, they had the influence of American bands. So all the European bands started to sound more commercial and cheesy, and all the American
Yeah,
bands were following the European path and start
they all
more,
merged.
they got
Well,
more
Van
heavy.
Halen. Van Halen's, I guess, would be the perfect thing right there because Eddie, I mean Richie Blackmore, and Tony Iommi were his guys,
Mhm.
and Hendrix, and but he just added so much flair. I mean, my
Yeah.
gosh, he took what they did and just rolled it up in a doobie and sparked it. I mean, he just came out with that energy and that stage presence.
With David Lee Roth. But why
And
I you agree? David Lee Roth is the frontman and Sammy Hagar is the singer. To me, it's always like this. Sammy Hagar had the best voice, but David Lee Roth was the man. To me,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Let's just put it this way: David Lee Roth would have taken Sammy Hagar's girl home with him that night.
Sorry.
David Lee Roth would have taken Sammy Hagar's girl anytime home
Yeah,
with him.
yeah.
Sammy would,
Sammy Hagar was a great singer, but David Lee
yeah.
Roth was the jumping crazy guy. Like
Not just that, he had the charisma and he had the
yeah,
balls.
true.
Like he would say, Sammy Hagar would show up with a girl out of Playboy magazine. Well,
Yeah.
David Lee Roth would be going home with her that night. And Sammy would be going home alone.
Shall I tell you a story about when David Lee Roth played in my hometown? What he did?
What did he do? He's
Oh,
crazy.
No, he was playing in my hometown. David Lee Roth as solo. He did some solo career.
Yeah, he did. Very
Yeah,
successful.
yeah. So David Lee Roth was on stage in the '90s somewhere, and some girl came on stage. She was like, "Ah, David!" She jumped
Sure.
to the stage. Yeah, but then David said, he sent it away. Like saying, "I want to pick the girls I want," something like this. And the girl's like, "Oh, it was very embarrassing for the girl." But something
Yeah.
he said, "Go away! I look what I want here," something like this.
Nice.
That was
Well,
David.
when you're David Lee Roth, you can get away with this stuff.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
everybody's like, "What the fuck? You sent that girl away?"
Yeah, I know. Not bad, right?
That was David Lee Roth. My first concert was in '88, and that was David Lee Roth. Was on I was 10-year-old in 1988. I was 10-year-old, and he played in my hometown. David Lee Roth with his solo tour, Skype Scraper tour.
Yeah, that was cool.
Full of catchy, easy, cheesy songs, but
Yeah,
okay,
Steven. He had Steve Vai,
on guitar.
and then the bass player guy. Yeah, I
Uh,
forget his name, but he's a really good
Adrian
bass
Van,
player.
but he
He
also
had a
had
great band.
he had also Adrian Vandenberg on. No, Steve Vai he had. Oh, Adrian Vandenberg's Van Halen. Whitesnake. He joined Whitesnake later, but
Yeah,
Steve Vai was on the guitar, and yeah, I was there,
the
but it
bass
was
player. Yeah, I,
88.
I I got crazy stories about that one.
Yeah,
We were at the Forum, like
yeah,
first, second row. Me and my girlfriend then went on to
yeah,
be my wife. We went on and to see the band. We were right up front.
yeah.
They were incredible. They were really good, and and they did a bunch of Van Halen songs.
Uh huh.
They played "Running with the Devil," "Ain't Talking About Love," a lot of the cool ones too. Um, "Atomic Punk" and "On Fire," which are my favorites. So I told my girl, I said, "Hey, want to go to the Rainbow on the way home? Grab some
Uh
pizza." Yeah, let's go to the Rainbow on the way home because downtown LA. So we go to Rainbow, we get a table, and we get some pizza and some drinks, and we're having a great time. Well, all of a sudden, bang, the Rainbow just gets packed.
huh.
Everybody came from the Forum. It was at the Forum Club, the Forum venue, which was
Yeah,
legendary.
yeah.
So we're there, and next thing you know, these guys like are walking around, and then they just jump into the seats with us, into our booth with me and my girl. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking at them. I'm like, wow, these guys look familiar. It was the bass player and Steve Vai.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Was it not the bass player who was in Winger?
I keep forgetting his name. No, it's that tall guy with the frizzy blonde hair. He
I know.
plays like lead guitar on the bass.
Yeah, but there's also. I have to check it out later on because I think
Sheehan. Sheehan.
Billy Sheehan,
That's who it was.
Billy from Mr. Big,
Yeah.
and the other band he had before Mr. Big, he had another band called Razor X.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Anyway, he wasn't doing much with those guys. Anyway, so they jump in, they sit with us. They're like, "Hey,
Yeah,
can we sit with you? We just played the Forum. We want to get a couple of drinks. This place is packed. There's
can
nowhere to
we sit
sit."
next to you? Like,
Yeah, that's what he said.
okay,
That's what
cool.
he said. So me and my wife or my girlfriend then are looking at each other. We're like, "Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like they love LA because this is how LA is. We don't care." So
Uh,
they sit down, they order some drink, and they're telling us, "Do you want drinks too?" And we're like, "No, we're good. We have some." So they had some beers. They started pounding down the beers, and I said, "I want to tell you guys something. It's funny that you sit down with me because I grew up with Van Halen, and I saw like David Lee Roth playing parties in Pasadena, and they look at each other and they're like, 'Oh shit, here it comes.'" Oh, I said, "You guys were great tonight. We were there." And like, "Wow, you were there? Yeah, yeah, we were there. We saw you guys. You guys are really good."
uh-huh.
But I said, "You guys, I want to tell you something though. You guys were no Van Halen. I mean, you're a good guitar player, but you're no Eddie Van Halen. I told Steve Vai that.
But you appreciate that, or what?
He really did.
Your
He said
honesty.
He said, "Thank you so much." He said, "And I know." He said, "It's hard to play his leads."
Yeah,
He said, "His leads are really tough." He said that he's a killer, but I appreciate it because you're someone you said you've seen him from the beginning. I said, oh, I seen Eddie in backyard parties standing 5 feet away from him.
cool.
You know, but now I saw you standing from 10 feet away from you. I said you're very good, but that was pretty tough playing those Eddie leads, weren't they? And he's like, yeah, you're right. Here's a beer. And he bought me a beer. And Billy
Honestly,
Sheehan
it's always the
said
best.
was great. Yeah, they hear it in L.A. They come and they run into people like this, and they hear the true stories, not just, hey, oh, give me your autograph, and you're some kind of a god or something. We just tell people straight up when we see them in the streets
Is
how
it
it is.
is it LA? Not the plastic false. Hello, how are you, Greg? I'm fine. Well, your mother just died, or your uncle just being honest. I hate that. That's something like we always have the imagining like American people. We don't know, but it's always like, it's great, it's fantastic. Well, fantastic. Just tell people it's not fantastic. Just tell the truth. Is it
Yeah,
not? I hate that. When I ask you,
yeah,
how are you doing, Greg? And you
yeah,
just have a bad night and a lot of problems, you don't tell me, oh, I'm great. No, just
yeah.
tell, I'm fucked up.
Yeah. Well, you got to admit, things are to live where we live in Southern California.
Uh-huh.
It's a pretty good life. So
Very
you
cool.
run into a lot of people that are pretty happy with life.
Uh-huh.
It's only you just see on news that they're you're down and outers, killers, and we have everything here.
The Night Stalker.
The night. Oh, he was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah,
The Night
we
Stalker
talk
was
about him.
active
We
in the
talk about
80s.
him all the time because he was killing people in our neighborhood,
In your neighborhood.
in my neighborhood, and I think it was like 84,
Yeah,
85 when we
it
were
was in the time of
the
Tyrant.
first album. Yeah, well, yeah, but that's why he was our favorite. So anyway, he killed somebody like that was right down the street from my grandmother,
Uh-huh.
and my dad found out and said, "You guys are gonna have to stay over there, take the gun with you, and all this stuff." We
Whoa.
said we can't. We're practicing, but I mean, we were coming home at like 1, 2, 3 in the morning after being in the studio all night with Bill Montoya, and that's when he was like running around killing people and stuff.
Okay. I
But
see the documentary on Netflix. I'm watching
yeah,
that.
me and Glenn were always like, "Oh, we'll find him. We kick his ass." You know,
Uh,
he was just a skinny little wimp. Me and Glenn would kill him
of
if we
course.
caught him.
Hey,
You know.
about but this Night Stalker, then skip me to the next question. Please tell me about your lyrical contact in your music because we're talking about the Night Stalker. But I know I like to know I know where your music a little bit is about, but just tell the viewers who don't know. What's the lyrical contact about uh, in your music? Where are you singing about? What's the musical? Yeah, ju-
Well, as you know, my brother Glenn wrote the lyrics.
yeah,
I wrote the music. Rocky wrote the music. So Glenn was always a very uh, I wouldn't say perfect Christian,
hmm,
but always had Christian beliefs, and
yeah,
so did I, and same with my parents.
uh
But we were kind of the Christians that we were taken to church for Easter, taken to church for Christmas, taken when someone dies.
yeah,
We were sort of like holiday Christians,
yeah. Same
not
like I
really good Christians. Yeah, we weren't living the life,
like I am like
but we
Catholic.
but we believe.
Yeah.
We full on believe in God,
Uh-huh.
and we full on believe in the devil.
Hmm.
We believe everything in the Bible.
Okay.
We don't doubt. And when revelations came along at church, when they would talk about revelations,
Uh-huh.
we would look at each other and we're like, "Oh wow, this is really a cool part of the Bible." Where they would talk about the famines and the swarms of locusts and the fires and the floods, and everybody would be killed, and then we'd come back and it would be all beautiful again, and the Antichrist would come, and me and Glenn were just like, at one time when we talk about it, when we first started out, that we kind of thought when you talk about cheesy that a lot of the satanic bands were cheesy.
Yeah.
Like we thought King Diamond was just cheese. Oh, he sing all falsetto and like, witches riding on brooms and Abigail and stuff. He thought that was just really cheesy. And Venom was maybe a little more believable. Venom was. They seemed
There, there were
they
no real satanic band. That was
Yeah, Venom
all.
we thought was a little more believable than like King Diamond.
Yeah.
And of course Alice Cooper kind of went the way of a politician or something. He wasn't scary anymore. So we really didn't think that, singing about witches riding on brooms was very scary. We
No.
thought reality was scary. You're
Hmm.
talking about the Battle of Armageddon, something right out of the Bible that we're headed to. You're talking about the mark of the beast. Everyone's going to have to take it, or you can't get groceries. Um, you're talking about living and dying and going to hell. I mean that's real stuff, and that's kind of what we made our thing about. Our thing was reality based,
Yeah.
and we always thought that was a lot heavier and a little more respectable than
Yeah.
just singing about vampires or witches riding around on
Dungeons
brooms.
and Dragons.
What's that?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, Dio did that well.
Yeah.
Dio did it well because he lived it. He lived it, but we were more reality based, and sometimes it wasn't very fun to hear about this stuff. I mean, wow. Um, but I would say definitely Revelations period out of the Bible was
Hmm.
a big influence on us, and we're full on believers. I'm full blown Christian. I've grown up. I've realized these stupid people that call the devil their god
Yeah.
are just heading down the sewer. You can't bring negativity like that into your life and then hope that your beautiful wife will make it home safe every night.
No.
You can't bring the devil into your life and hope your beautiful son or daughter is going to get that scholarship and make their way to university and have their own beautiful children and homes. It just doesn't happen for the Satanists. The Satanists are always the ones living down in the gutter, and always shitty things are happening to them. Because believe me, I know them, and I try to get them out of the gutter. But things are always happening bad to them because they're bringing that negativity into their lives.
Hmm.
And you even notice the guys in Sabbath now? They're all saved.
What from?
The guys in Black Sabbath, they're not
Yeah.
Satanists. They're not Satanists anymore.
But
They haven't been. They haven't been for years.
this
And
this
and if
was
and
also.
look at Slayer. The guy he
Yeah.
was
So
my
he's a Christian. It's
Slayer was my neighbor for a number of years. Me and Tom were neighbors. But
really
yeah, yeah, he moved, and he bought a house right
Anaheim,
by
eh?
my. This is another great story.
They
Okay,
are from Anaheim,
Th-
eh?
this is another great story. Tom, Slayer went on when we stopped.
Uh huh.
Slayer went on,
Yeah.
and they totally sold their soul. Okay, they were touring every year, just doing it. Comes at 96 when my son is born. I'm at a grocery store by my house.
Yeah.
I see this guy with tattoos and that long, straggly hair talking to the butcher at the butcher shop in my grocery store. Well, the guy turns and he leaves and walks away. And I'm like, that looked like Tom Araya. So I go over to the butcher shop store and I know the guy. His name's Bob. I'm like, hey, Bob, you're talking to Tom Araya, huh? He's like, yeah, you know him? So I was just telling him I'm a big Slayer fan. He was coming to get a couple steaks. And I'm like, yeah, I know him pretty good, actually. I said, we used to play with him all the time back in the day. He's like, yeah, he said he just bought a house down the street.
What he bought?
He bought a house,
A house. Yeah.
yeah, right down the street from me. And I'm like, wait, Bob, this guy's toured the world how many times? And he comes back and he buys a house down the street from us right here. And he's laughing his ass off. He's like, because you think that they would be millionaires by now,
Yeah, they
you
are.
know?
Probably
They're
they are.
not. They're not.
No. Maybe Carrie.
Because,
Maybe Carrie. Maybe
no.
he's no.
Here's the thing. He said the thing with Slayer is the fans would tear the buildings to pieces all the time
Yeah.
and have fights and do all kinds of damage. He told me, he said they had to carry so much insurance when they would play, they'd barely break even. He
Wow.
said that luckily they sold a lot of T-shirts.
Wow.
So these guys weren't getting rich out there, and they're having to leave their families like 9 months a year. And he told me, he said, Greg, he said, really, and this was back in '96. He's like, this is his first daughter. He had a daughter, I had a son at the same time. We were buying all the stuff for the babies. I'd see him all the time at the store.
His kids are same age as your kids.
That's mine, yeah. He has a daughter that's 20. He went on to have another daughter, and they moved back to Texas. His wife is from Texas.
Okay.
And they sold the house by me. And unfortunately, it was broken into a number of times. I said, what? I grew up in this neighborhood. We never had people breaking in. I guess people found out there was a Slayer lived there and he steal things from. Anyway,
Probably.
it was too bad. So he sold it and moved away. But he was saying, he said, his actual words were, he said, we make enough to survive.
Yeah.
And that was disappointing. So now that he's gone, they're gone. I knew that's it reminds me of what he was telling me back then. It's like they just make enough to survive. And he was really getting burned out on the whole thing, And then look at them now; they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Because Jeff Hanneman
All,
died.
and all
Uh,
the negative, all the negativity, all the crap, the Slayer, the pentagrams, all that crap. He's just done with it. He threw it all away. Now he's got his babies and his house in Texas, and he walked away from all of it. He's got the happiest life known to man.
but does he still? Do you think he still listen to heavy metal?
I really have no idea, but he seemed like someone back then. Like I said, when he was my neighbor, he was my neighbor for 2 years. I've seen him all the time. All he would talk about is family. He would talk about how he getting burned out on the whole Satan's crap and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and just wanted like a quieter life. And that was back in '96. When did he retire?
I've seen him many times
2016.
since '96. Since '96, I
Yeah,
have seen Slayer after that year after '96 till 2 years ago. I seen Slayer 2 3 years. When did they quit
yeah,
Slayer? They really quit a few years ago, huh?
yeah.
Two
They
years
actually headlined the Forum here, which is
ago.
really making it. They really made it. They finally did it. They headlined the Forum in LA. I think 2 nights in a row. I was so proud of them because they're a really heavy band, really good band. Always enjoyed playing with them all the time.
Uh-huh.
And they're a really true metal band.
Yeah.
And they headlined the Forum, I think, 2 nights, and pretty much called it a day after that. And I was thinking, wow, that's what I felt a long time ago. Before, not that I did big tours or anything. We never even
Uh-huh.
went that far. But family was more important than really going out on the roads and doing all this crap. We were more family people, guys in Tyrant. We liked being home with our wives and our kids and our homes
Going to
and
the Raiders in the
careers, go to the Raider games and Angel games and Laker games.
uh,
That was more, we were able to do well in our secondary careers
mm,
where we didn't have to make music our career. We did well in other facets of our life to
mm.
where we didn't, oh, wow, we better make the band make it because other than that, we're going to live in a gutter. We had other things in our lives to sustain us where we
Mm.
didn't have to do the band to do that. But I think that's kind of where things are all headed now. Everybody's home. They're not out on the roads. It's just sort of where everything ended up.
I know Kerry King is a Raider fan, right? And Jeff Hanneman
Yeah,
was too. Huh?
yeah,
And about lyrical content, because I asked you before, because they say in Europe, they say they marked your music, your band, as a white metal band, but it's not
yeah.
not like Striper
Thanks so
or
much.
whatever, not like Striper,
No,
but it's a in to it's marked as white metal. Yeah, no
yeah.
Christian metal, but
Well, it's
it's not
funny.
it's not
I think,
over the top.
yeah.
It's not over the top like Striper. Like
Well, those
with the
first two records weren't like that. Those first two records, they're not gonna. They weren't calling Tyrant white metal at all. The first two records,
no, but we the markers here in Europe as
only
US.
on King of Kings.
Yeah,
Only on King of Kings, because that's when we turned it around,
yeah.
and we said we're tired of this negative crap around us.
Uh-huh.
And but the music was heavier than ever. I think the music on King of Kings is heavier than the first two records. So So
I'm
musically, we stayed heavy, but we thank them for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's marked as U.S. white metal.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, thank you so much. And it's not white Caucasian either. Yeah, we are white and we are metal. But
yeah.
hopefully, it's not a race thing. Uh,
No, it's white
being
metal
white.
like Christian metal. Striper, Bloodgood, Saint. These bands were all
Yeah,
marked as white metal.
yeah.
So
That's cool. That's an
Even Metal Church has a little bit of that. Metal
yeah.
Church.
That's a real honor.
Yeah,
It's a real honor to be there because when my time comes and I have to answer to the big man upstairs,
yeah.
I want to say, "Hey, I'm the white metal guy." It's like, yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
I stole a bass
Come
in
on
90.
in.
Maybe I was involved in a stolen bass in 1978. But please forgive me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, that's the thing with growing up. If like I tell my son too, if you
Mhm.
don't do things wrong, how are you going to know how to do it right?
That's a fact.
And living life is just a learning situation.
Mhm.
And I told my son the same thing. I'm probably the coolest dad known to man. I mean, there's not much he could do to screw up that I haven't done a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I could sit down with him and give him some good.
Does he like rock music? Rock music?
So yeah, so the thing with him, he heard it from me.
Yeah.
All the athletes were into this hardcore rap because it would really fire them up, and they'd go out there and just kill the other team. This Eminem and the other hard rap. I'm like, I did the same thing you guys are doing, but I listened to metal. Why don't you listen to this? And so Black Sabbath came around the end tour. They did like four last shows. They did two here in LA. They did one in San Diego and then one in Vegas.
Mhm.
And I bought me and my son tickets to all four of those, really close to, like right in front of Tony.
Okay.
And I said, go ahead, love your country music, love your rap, but your dad is an old metalhead,
Yeah.
and you're coming with me. And all right, I even got him a Black Sabbath T-shirt and stuff.
How old was he back then?
Oh, this was well. Now he's 24. So 20 was it like when was the end tour? 4 or 5 years ago,
Okay.
like that. So he was probably 20, 19.
Okay.
Um, and I got to tell you, he'd never seen anything like that in his life. Right
Yeah.
in front of Tony Iommi playing Children of the Grave.
And he liked it.
Oh, he was blown away by it. He was
Cool.
blown away by it. He was headbanging, and he'd never really had known how to headbang. It just came natural.
Okay. Cool.
Um, I think he said "Children of the Grave" was the song that he was just blown away by. That rhythm, the whole place was shaking. Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 da. He's like, "Wow!" I just saw him smiling ear to ear, and he loved it. And then I find out later he went on iTunes and downloaded that whole album on his
So
phone.
it was not. It was not. It was a good thing to bring him down, and actually, you were the proudest that you ever been
Yeah,
that night.
yeah. He looked forward to the other ones. That was like the first
Oh,
show.
you already
It was
bought for the next concert.
yeah at the LA Sports Arena. It was the first one we went to.
Okay.
And he's like, "Are we going to the other ones?"
Hey,
And
he
then
told me that. Nice.
the last one we went to, he also saw. We got there a little earlier. He saw Megadeth
Yeah.
and Disturbed. Disturbed
Okay.
was really weird, and they were good.
You
Really,
like that? You
oh
like?
yeah, yeah. So as soon as he gets done seeing these guys, he downloads it on his phone.
Yeah.
He gets all the music on his phone now. He owns it.
Yeah.
But
That's the young
but
people.
he's not looking to grab my bass and join a band or anything.
No. No.
He's really
Push him
into
a little bit
college and
more.
hanging out.
Push him a little bit more. We'll be go to him to some more concerts. It will maybe it will it
Maybe when he gets older. Yeah, maybe when he gets older, because I have a room full of equipment
yeah
that's at his disposal that I'll be leaving him someday. But he did take guitar lessons at one time for a while,
uh,
and it just didn't bite him. He was more into sports. But no, he really loves Sabbath. He sees why I love him so much. He said, "Dad, I see why you love these guys." I mean,
yeah
he was right in front of Tony Iommi, and Tony was just killing it. You know, he said, who could not love that? You know, and then Ozzy jumping all around, acting like a maniac. He just
Right.
cracked him up. He'd laugh his ass off. You know, because Ozzy always does funny stuff. So yeah, I passed the stone. I
Cool.
passed the torch to a kid.
It took some time, but it happened.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I definitely passed the torch. So when
yeah.
I'm dead and gone, he can tell his kids someday. You know, back in the day, my dad took me to see this band, Black Sabbath, heavy
Actually,
metal.
he actually is lucky that he can still see that he could still see them
Yeah, yeah,
because
he got lucky.
he is lucky that he still had the chance to see them.
Yeah,
Because with kids who are now 15, 16, they all missed it.
yep, exactly. Like I missed Zeppelin.
Yeah. I miss
Zeppelin
more than
did
you,
like
huh?
seven.
Probably.
Yeah, they did like 7 nights here at the Forum. But I was like 13 or something. I was too young. My parents
Did you
wouldn't let me
ask your,
go.
did you ask your parents to go?
Yeah, because a guy showed up on my doorstep who had an extra ticket.
Whoa, he had a free ticket for you, or at least a
Yeah,
ticket?
yeah, for to see Zeppelin. Someone didn't show up, and he came to get me. But he was an older kid, and I was only like 13.
Uh-huh.
And my parents were like, "No, we don't want you to go and see." You know, they're rednecks. They're from Texas. They don't believe in heavy metal. You know,
No.
to my dad, it was like I think he liked Steely Dan. Steely Dan was his guy.
Yeah?
My dad, he loved his Steely Dan music.
I don't know what you not
No, I don't either. It's kind of like I think it's just like smooth rock or something.
the
And then he
Carpenters.
liked
I know that
yeah.
all the conservative people in America, the older people love the Carpenters.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I yeah. Um, they grew up right down the way here. That girl's voice was amazing, huh?
The Carpenters.
Yeah, the girl's voice was amazing.
Yeah, I never listened to it. I know from the movie Detroit Rock City, and there's kids who love Kiss, and then the mother put a record on the Carpenters, and I always have that
They
vision.
were amazing. They were really amazing. They're from Downey. They're from here,
Okay,
just down the freeway.
okay.
And it's funny that you mentioned them because they were sort of almost like Van Halen before Van Halen. Someone else from right around here who made it big, and they made it huge. They really did. I'm trying to think of their songs, but because it
I don't.
wasn't really my style, it wasn't my style of music, but really good, really
Okay.
really good musicians.
I never checked it. I just always had the vision like this is the the old man's music in the 70s. This is not cool. That was not the cool
Yeah,
music of
yeah,
the
not
70s.
Led Zeppelin. Well, and then they were devil worshippers.
Oh,
You
the
know that
Zeppelin and
there
Kiss and
was that too.
all
The
of
Stairway to Heaven, buying the Stairway to Heaven. The old people didn't like that. They figure they're passing around the coffers at church, buying a Stairway to Heaven. They kind of thought they were making fun of Christians. They probably were.
there was a lot of misunderstanding in the 80s, and with the you've probably seen the documentary Dream Deceivers from the guy who killed himself from Judas Priest. The two guys
No,
who
I heard about it. I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
oh
There's been
better
a lot. There's been a lot of that stuff.
and Ozzy Osbourne, same story. But
Slayer
okay,
had one too. Slayer had one.
had a core too, Slayer.
Slayer had one, and they got sued or something.
Okay, okay. Next to the next question. We already talked about the Pasadena, about the scene in LA, but you are from Pasadena,
Hmm.
California.
Yep.
How was it there in the 70s and early 80s?
Van Halen country. Van Halen country. Like I said, it's a beautiful city. I was born there, but I actually lived in Temple City, Arcadia area, which
Yeah,
is just 30 minutes east of Pasadena. But Pasadena was the biggest city around. They were
yeah.
the ones that had the nightclubs in Pasadena, where we played at a place called the Ice House. There
Uh-huh.
was another place called Pookie's where Motley Crue had played too, and the Ice House. Chris Holmes was there. Other bands like Odin and Abattoir, Armored Saint.
Odin, I have for few records of
Yeah, this
Odin.
Odin band never made it. They never made it.
No, I have the records here.
Yeah, their guitar player jumped off and went with Armored Saint when Dave died.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but no, it was a heavy metal metropolis.
Okay.
It really was, and it was all a real good brotherhood too between the bands. We all got along real good. Um, the only one that was kind of funny was the bass player for Striper, Tim, who was a great
Yeah.
musician, great guy. But they had a band that was kind of like Angel, like they were like pretty boys, and they'd all wear white.
You have seen Striper. You have seen Striper several times back in those days.
Yeah. How's Oz doing? Did he make it? I heard he was at death's door.
I
Cancer?
I also heard one of the guys of Striper is in Bloodgood now or something in another.
Oh, cool.
I have to
That's
find
cool
out.
stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so in the 70s, we were just, there was a lot of metal bands
Mm.
around. And, oh, yeah, we used to practice together. That was more the 80s. There was a big storage place called Stormore. It's kind of a
Yeah.
legendary place now. And it was in the hallway. Here are the bands: Tyrant, Armored Saint, Chris Holmes with his band Buster Savage. This is pre Wasp.
Pre-Wasp.
Yeah, and Greg Leon band Sweet 19. They had Joey from Armored Saint on bass and Tommy Lee on drums. That
Tommy
was one.
Lee.
That
Tommy Lee.
was one.
Big
Yeah,
group.
Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee. Yeah, this was one hallway at this place. We were all in the same hallway, so we'd run into each other all the time. and and it was funny. It's like, and the place, the rooms weren't insulated very well, so you would be playing, and then when you stop, you'd either hear someone else playing, pretty loud, or you'd hear everyone would stop at one time. You'd be listening to the other bands. You know what I mean? It was a trip. All of a sudden, you stop, you hear it's quiet, then one of the bands would fire up and start playing again.
Okay.
And it's like it was very influential. It came down to really on that time. It's like whoever played louder would be able to hear themselves because it was pretty loud. I remember Chris Holmes's band was pretty loud. They had that Don Costa in the band, that crazy bass player. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
heard about him.
Dean Castro.
No, it was Don Costa. He had a cheese grater on the back of his bass,
Uh,
and he'd rub it on his forehead like a pro wrestler, so he'd bleed. Oh, they're good times, man.
but this LA scene, was it, because the trash came in, was more in, the real trash was in Bay Area, like Exodus, Testament, Last Rocket, all the bands. Then LA had Slayer and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Dark Angel, Slayer.
yeah.
Uh, but this, and then you had the all hair metal stuff, Motley Crue and stuff. But the LA metal, because I know Slayer's from Anaheim, you're from Pasadena.
Mhm.
Is the LA metal, LA metal, was it more from the suburbs from LA or also from downtown?
I would say more from the suburbs.
Yeah.
Although Slayer, Tom told me that
Yeah.
he lived in Huntington Park,
Okay.
which is a very bad area.
Really?
It's out around like Compton and
Oh,
uh,
Compton, where all the NWA and all this stuff comes from.
yeah, because I told him when he bought the house by me, I'm like, dude, really? I said, you've traveled the world what for 10 years and you buy a house by me, and
Yeah.
and he kind of laughed. He said, dude, this is a real move up for me. He's like, I'm from Huntington Park. And I remember playing against Huntington Park whenever I was playing football when I was a kid. And that was a bad area, you know. So I think
And
that's how
Pat, yeah.
Slayer had. He said they'd hear gunshots every night when he was a kid
Oh.
while he's laying in bed. Bang, 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 and then ambulances and bodies would be taken away. So it was a real heavy influence on him, and he cashed in on that. That's for sure. But yeah, it was mainly kids that had money, guitars, rehearsal rooms,
Oh, the metal.
amplifiers, trucks to move the gear, posters to promote your shows, uh, party materials to bring the girls and your buddies all to throw the parties after the gigs. You had to pay to play. You had to have some money. So the ones downtown that had no money, they pretty much weren't in the competition. It was the bands that had the money
Yeah.
that were able to play the game and get the killer leather outfits, like you were saying, and to have the people come in and do your hair, make you look good for photo sessions, and to have those killer, leather outfits.
You also need to buy tickets to sell them later on before for the shows. I
Yeah,
heard.
luckily we didn't have to do much of that. You know,
No.
when
Okay.
you're a proven act, when you're a proven act, I think the only time we really had to do it was when we played with Quiet Riot.
With Quiet Riot.
Yeah, which was, seems like a strange show, but it was in the '90s when metal was dead, but
So
they were
not
still
so
trying to
not
do something.
so not with the Aussie Randy Rhoads on it anymore. Randy Rhoads was in Quiet Riot.
Yeah, another neighbor kid, Randy Rose.
Yeah.
It was him and Eddie Van Halen from around here that were like number one and number two.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Like where did here Ozzy gets kicked out of Black Sabbath?
Uh-huh.
He's going to put a new band together. Where does he come? Los Angeles. You know, you think, oh, he'd run right back to Birmingham, England, and find the next Tony Iommi or something. No, he finds a guy down here who's good looking and puts on a good show and tears it up like Eddie, and he puts out his biggest records ever. You know, that was too bad about him not lasting very long. You know, getting killed in that plane wreck and stuff. That was a
Yeah.
tragedy. That was
But
really bad.
Dio, no, Tony Iommi stole some English guy to brought him to Rainbow.
Yeah, who's that?
Ronnie James Dio.
Oh, yeah, the American. Yeah, Tony
So
Iommi brings in the American.
yeah,
That was so cool. That when that happened, that was like Christmas to me because I was so into those Rainbow records.
yeah,
Long Live Rock and Roll and the Rainbow Live and Rainbow Rising.
yeah.
Oh gosh, those records were huge to me.
Nobody,
Huge.
nobody talks about the records he made with Jolien Turner, or with the other
Well, he had some good songs here and there, Headbangers Ball stuff, but nothing like with
Headbangers
Dio.
Ball, Headbangers Ball stuff,
Yeah,
yeah, MTV stuff, yeah.
you go back and do your homework, and watch those things. But whenever I remember I went to the record store because I'd heard there's a new Black Sabbath album out. Oh, well, those are my guys. I got to go get the record. I got my $10. I jumped in my van. I head to the record store.
Uh-huh,
I see on the front the Angels smoking cigarettes. They had
uh-huh.
a special stand for it. And when I flipped the record over and looked on the back, it was a drawing of each of the four guys. I said, "That's not Ozzy. That's not Ozzy. That's the Rainbow guy.
Yeah.
Holy crap! This is going to be like Rainbow Sabbath or Black Rainbow or something."
Could
And I got
could be
home, put that record on. I said, "That's probably my number one record that I love, Heaven and Hell record. If
yeah,
not for only that music, but for that time too. That time." That was such a big hit in LA. They really pumped that record. They played Heaven and Hell probably once every hour that summer. It was huge. And Lady Evil, they played that a lot too.
and we have to wait for the favorite records one moment. We need a few more questions, and then
Oh, okay.
then you can say what your favorite records are.
I
Okay.
know. I'm kind of
Uh,
fading too. It's 3 in the morning. I'm getting
that
so tired.
that's why we need a little bit
All right.
continue.
I'll
Otherwise,
shut up.
I had some more questions.
Oh,
Did you play often live, and what was the best clubs to play at the time?
oh yeah. Well, of course, the Whiskey,
Yeah,
famous. The Roxy, next to the Rainbow, famous. The Troubadour, famous. Eventually, it got away from heavy metal though, but we played there. It's a Troubadour. It was great. And it's funny, Wasp went on to play multiple nights there,
yeah.
and that's where they got signed. Was Smallwood was at the Troubadour because they let them play like 2 or 3 nights in a row. They would do like a residency. So the Troubadour really became a big place after the Whiskey and the Roxy. But the favorite place was a place called John Landis's Country Club. It was actually a small arena,
Mm-hmm.
and they started booking all the Metal Blade, Tyrant, Slayer, everybody you were talking about, Abattoir, Dark Angel, all these people.
Abattoir is great too.
Yeah, yeah, we play with them all the time. I think they're from Alhambra or San Gabriel. Armored Saint, all these guys. We started playing this like a small arena, and man, it really when we play there, I tell you, it would be packed, and we'd really go off because we got that big night feel playing there, like
Mm-hmm.
playing the arenas, man. It was like an arena feel. I mean, when you went out there, you put it on like an arena show, and that ended up being the best place ever because it was like 10 times the size of the Whiskey, or the Roxy, or the Troubadour. It was big and two level. It had an upstairs, and then they had some isolated places like Vets Hall and Culver City. We did that. That was a big place. And it had some isolated places here and there. But the one stalwart place that was a legitimate club on the circuit was John Landis's Country Club. And you'll hear that from other bands out here too. That place was awesome.
Okay. Good conditions and so for bands and
Yeah. A big night there was us, Tyrant, and Abattoir. Or was it Agent Steel? Maybe it was Agent Steel. Agent Steel opened for us, and then we came on, and then Slayer came on. I mean, it was really like real metal had hit L.A. You know, and they did talk about the Bay Area a lot, but people down here were saying, you know,
you're
okay,
a little bit like annoyed that they only talk about LA and not about San Francisco and not about LA.
well, it depends who you're talking to,
Yeah,
because
but if you talk about the Europeans, they always have Bay Area, and if they talk about LA, they go always with Slayer, Dark Angel, stuff like that, or the hair
yeah,
metal stuff, or the hair metal stuff from
yeah.
LA.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In L.A., you had everything.
Hmm.
You had Slayer, and you had Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
In Bay Area, you had Exodus and Journey.
Def Opa. So
Exodus and Journey, maybe.
yeah,
Well, Metallica was actually from here. They just went up there because no one would book them here.
yeah.
Funny, they couldn't get bookings for some reason. But no, L.A. was the capital. They didn't have a Rainbow Club there. Give me a break. They didn't have the Whiskey. They didn't have the Roxy. They didn't have the Troubadour. They had a place called Wolfgang's, and it burnt down. That was, there was no Hollywood scene, Sunset Strip there. They only had thrash. We had everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it would be Slayer, Tyrant, and Abattoir or whatever right here at the Whiskey, and then at the Roxy it was Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, and Dokken. The same strip. They didn't have that down in
And
Northern California. That was Sunset Strip. That was Hollywood. That was L.A. It was the Mecca. It was the number one.
and you also had the biggest teams, like you had the Raiders, but actually moved to Las Vegas, and then you had also, like for example, the Dodgers, who came from Brooklyn actually, yeah, who started, who are
Yeah.
not already, but that's also something. The Chargers and the Chargers are also they're from Vegas, right? Or they're from not
No,
from
San Diego.
San Diego Chargers? They moved to LA. I
It's
think
funny you
that's
mention that. My son is a huge Chargers fan.
yeah.
And I used to love to take him to the games in San Diego. We drive out there, like 3 hour drive along the ocean, going along the ocean the whole way. We have, good bonding times, dad and his son. And I
But
would
the
take him
Chargers
down
are
there,
not popular in LA.
of course, to see the Raiders. Of course,
Yeah.
to see the Raiders. It was Chargers and Raiders. And for some reason, the fans, it was like 75% Raider fans.
And
And
where's the LA Rams in the story?
what's that?
The Rams.
They were originally here. And they
Yeah,
moved
they're
away, and now they came back.
the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. Those were my idols when I was young. They had Roman Gabriel and Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen, Bob Brown and Tom Mack. They were a great team. The early Rams, but then they moved away. Now they're
Yeah.
back. So, but who knows
What
what's
what
going to happen now?
That is stupid. The Brooklyn Dodgers moved to LA and became the LA Dodgers to the other side of the country. Stuff like this can only happen in America. You
East
know,
Coast to West Coast.
yeah.
You couldn't get any further away.
No, not at
Hey, these
all.
people with money, they're people with money, so they do whatever the hell they want.
Uh,
You know, you ought to see the stadium they built now in LA. We haven't had football probably a decade. Now we have two teams, and we have the best stadium out of the whole league.
soccer. You have the
No,
LA.
that's where we practice. We have SoFi Stadium now. It's called SoFi. It's like a $5 billion stadium. It's the most expensive and biggest stadium in the world now.
And that's from the Dodgers.
No, it's just for the Rams and the Chargers.
Why? That's I don't like that. Two clubs in one stadium. I don't like that.
Hey, it's expensive.
Yeah, but
It's
then play
expensive.
make two little stadiums and everybody got his own stadium. That's
Well,
stupid.
no, they did that because Rams are going to have to go on the road. It's mainly the Rams. And then they have a wide open stadium. So the Chargers will play there when the Rams are gone.
Okay.
And then the Chargers leave and then the Rams come back. So there's someone always in that stadium. The money is just going to be
And,
unbelievable.
and concerts in other
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah, actually, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett was supposed to play there, which,
Okay.
I mean, that's unreal. We haven't had a rock concert here in years.
Yeah, we hear.
But they were supposed to
Yeah.
play, and then COVID crashed it. They'll probably try to come back and play. But
About last
yeah,
thing about sports, you have also two soccer teams. You have Galaxy and LA football LAFC.
yeah.
But
No
but
one cares about soccer here. Soccer,
nobody.
no.
But
So,
Seattle,
even when we had Beckham, we actually had a famous player here. They
sure.
couldn't get anybody at the games. No one would go to the
No,
game. Nah, it's just not a thing here. I mean, we have Dodgers, we have Angels, we have Lakers, we have Clippers. I mean, those are big, solid
Lakers.
manufacturing. I mean, they're big sports teams. You think the Galaxy? What the hell's that?
Nobody cares.
No, it sounds like someone that could play at a high school, or we
Uh-huh.
could set a high school team over there. It'd be just as good. They've never made a legendary stamp on Los Angeles at all. Not like the Lakers, not like the Dodgers, not like the Angels. I mean, the Galaxy. Really?
And the Kings, of course. You like LA Kings?
Kings, yeah, Kings and the Ducks. They
No,
both
no. You like the Ducks
Anaheim
and the
Ducks.
Kings.
There's
You like
Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, I know, but I heard from my friend he's a big LA Kings fan and he hates the Ducks to death. He said,
Well, you have to hate somebody.
"Okay,
I get it.
okay," but I not usually I plan to go to him a half year ago. No, it's longer ago. A year ago, I would go to my friend in Los Angeles and we go see 5 matches of the Kings at home and one at away till the Ducks and against the
Yeah,
Ducks, because we could do one away trip, to the Ducks.
nice.
Because it's in Anaheim,
That's
but
cool.
the COVID yeah destroyed our plans. But the plan was five home matches of the Kings and
Hmm.
one away match from the Kings to the Ducks, but the whole plan was no.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to reschedule soon and get it done and have some fun.
Yeah. Okay, next to the next question. How often have you guys played abroad? And please tell us your greatest tour experience and why it was a great one. Probably Europe.
We've played a few times, Germany, in Germany, and then a very cool one in Greece, of all places.
Ah, up the hammers.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I actually took my wife to that one.
Yeah.
And after the concert, we jumped on another plane and flew to Santorini. Wow.
What do you say?
We After the concert, we stayed
Yeah.
in Athens. We
Yeah.
stayed in Athens with the band. Very cool promoter. Everybody's great.
Yeah.
Um, Me and my wife took off, and we went to the Parthenon. Did all that stuff. Did you do that?
To the what? I can't.
It's called the Parthenon,
Where's that?
Athens, Greece.
But I never was in Greece. It's far away from me.
I get. Hey, it's far from Los Angeles too. Believe
Yeah,
me.
from Holland, it's far. It's the other side of Europe.
This is probably the most incredible thing.
Yeah.
This Parthenon thing is just unreal. They call it the cradle of civilization.
Uh-huh.
in Athens, Greece. And then we said, oh, let's keep going with it. Me and my wife jumped on another plane and we flew to another island called Santorini. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Oh, wow. It was like a mystical island, man. We had such a great time. And we're dying to go back someday. That's somewhere we'll definitely go back to Greece. But, it was all cool. It was great. Germany's great too.
ever come to Holland? Ever was in Holland? You ever?
Not yet. Not yet.
Mm.
Not yet. Um, a lot of the things, like I say, we were really family people.
Yeah.
Once those things started to happen, very family people, very career oriented
Okay.
people. Um, guys, just oh, really, well, why go over there? I'm going to lose money and blah blah blah. These things would always come up. Like it wasn't that big of a deal. But we tried to get over there. I think Kit Festival was great too at
Keep it true.
2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it true because it got everybody back together
Yeah.
in 2009. Um, let's face it, it's great over there. They're still into metal more over there than they are here.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Especially
know?
Germany and Greece. They're two
Yeah,
countries with very great traditional metal scene. There
yeah,
are more Holland too, but not like Holland is not like Germany or Greece. Germany, Greece, Italy, Sweden. They have really good traditional metal scenes, I think.
yeah. I'd
And
love to go
Germany,
back over now. Yeah,
you like
I'd
to eat
love. Yeah.
bratwurst and schnitzel.
It's in my blood, man. Brats and schnitzel, brats
Yeah,
and schnitzel. And
braatkartoffel and stuff like that. Yeah, it's
Tyrant went
awesome.
over there. We drank all the bands under the table.
Yeah.
We stayed at the same hotel. It was Armored Saint was there. Rigor Mortis was there.
Oh, we got Mortis there,
I think
and
the
I'm
guys
saying,
Lizzie Borden was there. It was all the headliners.
yeah,
Whatever. We were all there. Ruthless, I think, was there. We all met in
yeah.
the bar.
Sammy was there
Well,
too. Sammy,
who?
Sammy.
Yeah, he was. And
Hi,
and
cool.
Kenny. Kenny's my neighbor. He lives right here.
Kenny from
McGee.
Omen.
McGee. No, McGee.
Ah,
He's not in the band anymore,
no.
but he was, and he's my buddy.
Okay,
We got together and we partied together like crazy. Had a good time.
cool. And we go to the next question because otherwise we can't make it all. Any? Do you have any musical side projects besides playing the bass in Tyrant since 1978?
It's funny that I have had friends call me and like want to jam with me,
Hmm.
but nothing that's ever made it to record or
Okay.
anything like that.
Well,
Um,
you did some things.
yeah. Oh, sure. I go jam. I have a friend here in Glendora who plays drums.
Hmm.
I actually take my guitar over there. I play guitar too.
Yeah.
I'm no Rocky Rockwell, but I play a pretty mean rhythm. And I have a flying V with a bar, so I try to do KK Downing.
Well, yeah.
I can do all that stuff pretty good on my flying V. Um, but it's just having fun. It's
Cool.
nothing that's made it to record or anything.
Then skip to the next question. You already talked a lot about family life. Yeah, you told me your wife, you're married, you have one child. Just one question about your family life. Do they share your music passion for music?
Oh,
Yeah.
they do. They're crazy musical people. But see, my wife loves all music. She
Yeah.
had two older sisters
Yeah.
that used to grab her all the time when she was like, 10 and take her to see like the Bee Gees and take her to see, they're Armenian and they have Armenian music too, which is beautiful music.
Yeah.
But they were not just hard rock; they were into all music. They loved all music.
Hmm.
So my wife, it's like she loves everything. You were talking about the Carpenters. It's like she has Carpenter music.
Okay.
She has Journey. She had, and then she liked the hair metal. She loved hair metal. Her and her girlfriends. They loved Motley Crue. They'd meet him, talk to him.
Really?
Guns N' Roses, L.A. Guns. So they're musical people. And then my son, he's total. Well, he got away from the rap now.
Yeah.
He kind of saw the rap once he got out of the sports and started going to college that, eh, I'm not really into this rap stuff. I can't see myself going on with it. He totally dove. He's like head first into country rock.
Country
Like
rock.
like Jason Aldean and Florida Georgia Line and Brantley Gilbert. These country guys have all kind of went and got hard rock guitar players and rocked up their stuff. And I hear it and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I hear some rock in there. What the hell? And these country bands roll out Marshall Stacks now, and they've got Flying V's and Stratocasters. I'm like, this isn't Grandpa's country music anymore.
No.
These guys are rolling Marshall Stacks out there all the way across the stage, and they're a country band. So it's kind of like Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner
Yeah.
and Motte
Ted,
Hoople and stuff like that. No, no,
Ted
no, no.
Nugent.
Ted Nugent. Yeah, I
I would
love
say
Ted.
Ted Nugent, Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, Ted Nugent is the typical American redneck who rocks the and he kill it and grill it. He always
Trump. He's a huge trumper.
and a kill it and grill it. He tells. He's
Ted
a
Nugent. Yeah, you
yeah.
don't want to mess with that guy. You don't
But
want.
I
You
love
don't
Ted
want.
Nugent. He's popular in Holland, but in Germany I heard he's not popular because of this. But Ted Nugent,
That's too bad.
yeah, he did some great things with them Yankees also.
Yeah, he did. But
Yeah.
he's really known for his solo career.
Mm.
Stranglehold. What a song. I remember having his first record, and I bought it just because I liked what it looked like on the front, a
Yeah.
cover. And I went home and heard Stranglehold, like a 15-minute song of him just tearing it down on the guitar. Um, yeah, I would say, there's a lot of Ted Nugent in this kind of new country music. There's a lot of Leonard Skinner. Uh, it's great. It is
What's
really
the
good.
other band? Molly Hatchet. Is it Molly
Yeah,
Hatchet?
stuff like
Or
that. Yeah, Molly
Molly,
Hatchet.
Molly Hatchet.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's also another band called Molly Hatchet, Little Skinner, Ted Nugent, and there's another band who's very, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of new ones. I mean, newer. There's a guy called Jason Aldean
I don't know.
that really kicks ass. I mean, he has like a mosh pit at his show.
Whoa.
And another guy named Brantley Gilbert. Again, these guys have like Flying V's or Marshall Stacks, and they're tearing it up. It's real redneck. It's real ass kicker. It's like, I'm gonna drink a beer, take your girl, take my truck, and drive right over you on the way out of here. You better
Uh,
be on board or screw you, and be a conservative. I mean, it's right up my alley.
I saw Ted Nugent videos when my good friend Fozzy was still alive. At he was a good friend, and he always watched Kiss and Ted Nugent. And always
Yeah,
when I came at his place, we watched Ted Nugent. And Ted Nugent is really big in America. I know.
yeah, yeah, and he's very well respected.
Yeah.
Uh, he could almost be a politician.
Maybe he could. Maybe he could.
Yeah, he
It's-
he definitely could.
yeah. Okay. Next question. What are you doing in daily life, job and hobby wise?
Well, of course, my hobby is Tyrant.
Tyrant.
That's like I always tell my wife. They're very supportive in what I do.
Yeah.
This beautiful wife who's been with me for quite a few years, who knows what she got into, and now she has this old rocker to deal with. Who this is my thing, and I always tell her, hey, some people like to golf. I like my heavy metal. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm also a homeowner. I have a big project going here now. We're rebuilding some stuff here on our property.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like 100-foot tree destroy my garage, so we had to remove this giant tree, and now we're rebuilding the garage. I have contractors coming over. That's taking up a lot of my time now.
Uh-huh.
People know me as the appliance guy. Uh, I went to school, became certified here in California as a refrigeration expert. Um, it's something I really enjoy, helping people. They
Yeah.
call me. They call me. They're losing all their food, or even worse, their beers are warm. You know, they call. They're like, Greg, fix my refrigerator. My beers are warm.
Okay.
Okay,
That's the
okay,
worst thing you can have.
I'm
When
coming.
warm beer.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Um, So I'm that guy, and I'm certified with the state. There's not many of us. Um, so I'm a refrigeration expert.
Uh,
I work on built-in units, refrigeration units. Um, that's that's really been what's been good to me over the years,
uh,
financially. Financially, I went to school and all that stuff for that, and I think that's what my son has seen in me. Where Dad just doesn't get a job somewhere. I've gone to school and become certified, and done it right, and set a good example for my kid.
yeah.
He doesn't want to do what I do though. I've brought him to my work, and he's yeah. I'm welding. I'm putting in Freon and all this stuff. That's a big job. He's going to do something else. He's not going to do what I'm doing. But between that and then doing all the correspondence for Tyrant for the hereafter, it's been very busy. The record did pretty well, so I'm always constantly having people like yourself reaching out to and doing PR.
Cool.
Working on some stuff right now with the label. We're going to
Yeah.
have two new releases coming out. Not new material, but the ones that you were showing me, Too Late to Pray and Legions, are going to come
Reissues.
out. Yeah, they're going to come out in brand new colored vinyl.
Oh,
Too
nice.
Late to Pray is going to have a blood splattered vinyl. Oh, it looks
Wow.
sick. Really sick.
Cool.
And the Legions of the Dead is going to have a tombstone blue vinyl. I'm also working on a DVD that we
Oh.
shot in November out in the desert.
Mhm.
Um, that is being worked on right now. Trying to get the footage synced up with the music for a DVD that's coming out.
Also
Um,
by Shattered Kingdom Records.
some new shirts too. New shirts
Yeah,
are coming.
I need some shirt. I need a shirt. The
Yeah.
I needed Legions of the Dead T-shirt.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
I need
some new shirts are coming too. So that's
I need
that's a
the
lot.
XXL. I need the XXL Legion of the Dead T-shirt.
Oh, little guy, huh? I'm a double X.
XXL. I need the X. I need
I'm
this
two
one.
X.
I need this one. Double XL.
Okay. Oh, double XL. Oh, okay.
Double XL. Double
My
XL.
size. Yeah,
Yeah.
my size.
I need one too. So
So
maybe my
that's a lot. That's a lot right now. I've got my house I'm rebuilding. I refrigeration expert. I've got shirts coming, DVD coming,
oh
two new album vinyls coming.
yeah
Corresponding, the record did real well, getting a lot of like press and top tens. Kids in college. He's maybe going to graduate this
yeah
year. Or maybe he's going to hold off and graduate next year because he doesn't want to do the virtual graduation with his bachelor's, and then he wants to stay going and get his master's. The kid's going to make a
yeah
ton of. I'll be borrowing money from him one of these days,
good
and
thing.
then me and the
Thing.
beautiful wife just enjoying life, and hopefully concerts will come back, and
Hope so
we'll
too.
start going to concerts together and resume where life stopped.
So at the end, I also want. I need you later on the private message to have to order some T-shirts and some CDs and records. I don't know. Maybe we
Yeah,
can talk later about it. But because I need a Tyrant shirt, I have all the records except the new one I don't have
yeah.
yet. But we
I'm
talk
just
about it later.
waiting. Yeah, I'm just waiting on everything to arrive. I think because of COVID, it
Yeah.
shut a lot of things down.
Let me know when it's there, and
But they're all in production. Yeah, the DVD, everything. I will. I'll stay in
I
touch.
would like to put an order. And
Yeah.
one of my last questions is your top three all-time hard and heavy classics. So your
Oh,
favorite
wow.
top three albums.
Well, I'm not going to put Tyrant in any of the top 3 or 5
Oh,
because that's would be my own thing. I wouldn't do that. But I have to say, like, probably my number one record, Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath.
yeah.
I love that whenever Dio joined in with Sabbath. Number two would be Ozzy Sabbath, the Sabotage album,
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, Symptoms of the Universe, Megalomania, Hole in the Sky. Check that one out. Number three, I would have to say early Judas Priest, probably the Sin After Sin album. Love that album. That
I
is
like
a
I
great album. I
I
love that
like
album.
my favorite one is State Class or are Set Wings of Destiny, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I like Sandwich Destiny, but there's just something about the Sin After Sin album that I
Okay.
just love. Sinner, the song
It's great.
Starbreaker,
It's great.
Let Us Pray into Dissident Aggressor. Doesn't get
Yeah,
much better than that record right there.
cool.
So that what's that number three? Um, Number four probably Scorpions, Taken by Force, We'll Burn the Sky, uh, Steam Rock Fever, like I was talking about in L.A. It's like wow in L.A.
I go listen to that song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to, you better. And then uh, oh, that other one. What? No, 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 that whole record is just amazing. And then I got to put in the top five. Number five, Van Halen. Van Halen.
Okay.
Van Halen's debut album.
I
Wow,
You couldn't miss that one in your stories.
wow.
We
Did
skipped
they?
Van Halen.
Seeing them make it from a backyard to opening for Black Sabbath just blew this kid away when I was a kid. I was
Wow.
blown away. And then when I heard Eddie doing Eruption at a
Yeah.
record store. They were blasting the record at a record store. I'm like, who is that? That's Van Halen. I had never heard lead guitar like that. Even you, Lee, Richie Blackmore, Tony Iommi. Go back, listen to that Eruption off the first album. Amazing. If I had those five records and only those five records, I could listen to those for the rest of my life.
It's cool. So, well, thank you very much, Greg, for your time. It's
You
very.
got it, buddy.
Uh, I want to have a last words. Maybe you can uh, promote your new album. Yeah, and tell the people listen that the youth skipped all the hip hop and house and everything,
Yep.
and they have to listen to that legends, because nothing beats the legends. Never.
Right here. OG, baby.
OG.
OG, the original gangster of metal,
Yeah,
right here.
but I love. You see, OG Ice T from LA.
I did the work. Oh,
Uh,
he's an OG for what he does too.
yeah,
The
he is a
original gangsters, the guys, the old guys that
yeah,
paved the way for the young ones.
but that's in metal too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, last words, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's these kind of things that perpetuate Tyrant,
Yeah,
that perpetuate Greg May doing what he's still doing here in Los Angeles, that perpetuate heavy metal. And if not for people like yourself, uh, the future could be pretty bleak. Not only for myself and for Tyrant, but for heavy metal in general. It's just not up there anymore. It's just not. It's just not Led Zeppelin anymore. Led Zeppelin used to rule everything, and heavy metal ruled everything. It's really fallen, man. It is really fallen, and thank God for people like yourself that still give attention to old guys like myself and old metal like myself, and keep it going. Thank you so much, and to your listeners and to our fans. We hope to see you again someday to get over to Europe again and play. This COVID thing's really put things on a back burner, um,
mm,
and I don't really see it getting good this year.
no,
If anything, maybe next year.
I hope so.
Hopefully, we'll get invites to come over and play, and Rob will get his passport.
When you
You'll
come
see.
over to Germany, I have to introduce you to one young guy. His name is Manoli. Manoli from Germany to Greece. His father is was the manager of Sodom, the thrash metal band from Germany.
Yeah,
But this guy Theo is not that old. He's younger than maybe 50 in his 50s. But his son is 15 years old and always wears a Doors and Jimi Hendrix shirt, and he's only 16-year-old. So there is hope. Even this kid listened to Jimi Hendrix and the Doors, and he's only 16. So
that's
believe
great.
there is a future for heavy metal. There is. If I see
Yeah,
kids
we
like
always
him,
hope. I hope Yuli has. That's great news. I hope Yuli has a son. I hope Michael Schenker has a son.
yeah,
Rudolph Schenker has a son.
I don't know.
Uh, you always hope these great guys over there Tony Iommi has a son, you always hope that these guys are going to give birth to some super stud young sons that'll carry the torch. We haven't seen it yet. Eddie
No.
has a son. Eddie's son plays bass. Eddie Van Halen. His son's trying to carry on. But we really need that bloodline.
There is. Trust me. You know the German band Creator.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm friends with the drummer, and his son is a better drummer than his father. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
there is hope in heavy metal. Trust me. There are
That's good news, man. I
not
love
many.
hearing that.
It's not many, but there
Yeah.
are kids here in Holland and Germany and everywhere in Europe who wears the denim vest with patches and striped jeans and the pony cuts and playing records and cassettes. There is life for old
Uh,
school metal. Trust me, there is. Maybe I don't
well,
know
we'll
if
get some T-shirts on some teenagers. We'll be in good shape.
trust me, there will be. And there are even girls. There are also girls like who are 17, 18-year old. They will look like they were step out of the 80s, while they were
On the
born in
Sunset
2002.
Strip. Sunset Strip, buddy. All the actresses are out here.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much, Greg. It was a very nice conversation.
It was.
Uh, you told a lot of inside stories, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear them, and I'm happy to share them with my viewers.
Oh yeah, it'd be great. We'll call this part one. I have so many more. It's ridiculous.
Maybe when I come when you come over, we do an interview with beer and food and everything.
Sounds
Put on
good.
a table. That's better, you know.
Beautiful thing.
Okay,
Beautiful
wonderful.
thing, bro.
And
Hey, stay. Let me know when this is coming out so I can share it everywhere.
yeah, that's the plan. It's good.
It's been fun.
We do 2 interviews a week. So one from Natasha, my girl, not my girl. Wish I was it was my girl, but she's doing great interviews and on one day, and then me. So you have to wait a few weeks. Still will be online because we
All
do it.
good.
But it will be online and it will be shared worldwide. And if you do your best to share it too,
I
and
will.
please tell people to subscribe on our channel and like our
Yep.
channel and share put
Tag me.
yeah, but also put it abonnements, like a button, like
Absolutely. And we got to
we
put
need.
on Instagram too.
I have no Instagram yet, but I need.
Tyrant
you know,
does.
I'm old school. I don't.
I know, me too. But Tyrant does, and we get a lot of hits on Instagram.
I will make a new one
Yeah.
soon. I will
But
make
the
a new
new
one.
album, go pick up the new Tyrant album Hereafter with Rocky Rockwell, Ronnie Wallace, and Robert Lowe, ex Candlemass, Solitude Eternius on vocals. It's a killer record and it's on fire.
Good
Tyrant,
night, my friend. Thank you very
Tyrant,
much. Tyrant USA
Tyrant.
from
It's
Pasadena,
Tyrant,
California.
Tyrant.
Tyrant, yeah. Okay, last two rec. If you don't have them
Tyrant.
yet, soon reissued. Colored
Yep,
vinyl.
yep. Tyrant.
Tyrant. Support US metal.
Yes.
See you. Thank you very much.
Tyrant. There you go.